This week's episode of This Is My Bourbon podcast is brought to you by The Restillery. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of This Is My Bourbon podcast. I'm Perry. I'm the host. I almost said my old intro, and then I was like, that's not how I do that anymore. Welcome back, of course. Another week, another episode. We're doing something different this week. We're just drinking rye, which we've never done on the show. I don't know if I've ever had rye on the show before, now that I think about it.
You should have rye.
Well, yeah, and I figured it was only appropriate to bring rye guy himself, yes. Mr. Iverson, who you may very well know from OBC Kitchen in Lexington, Kentucky, and from being on the show actually just a few weeks ago.
Yes, sir.
But I was like, we have this idea. We may as well go ahead and, capitalize on it.
Yeah.
So, welcome back to the show, man.
No, thank you. Well, thank you for having me back. And like I mentioned in that other episode, like rye is like how I actually really, not how I seriously started falling in love with whiskey was rye whiskey. Mm-hmm. Still to this day, my favorite genre of whiskey. Bourbon's great, but I think rye, bang for buck, is just awesome. Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk more, too, later on about why we like rye, or why you like rye in particular.
Or why people hate it, too,
well.
I guess.
Yeah.
Because people do hate on it.
But in the meantime, you're going to hear Marie barking in the background because I'm solo parenting tonight.
Damn, single dad.
Hey, man.
Doing his thing.
My wife,
grinding.
Lucy's just out for the night. It's okay. She'll be back. I mean, I hope she'll be back. Lucy, come home. Anyway, so we're gonna jump into this with our newest segment on the show, Flying Blind, where we review something, or not really review, we try something that we've either never had before or have had in the past and wanted to revisit. In this case, this is something neither of us have ever had before.
Yes.
And it's
good call, because there's no way. I don't think no one listening has ever tried this. No. Not that it's good or bad, but it's.
And if you have, I mean, all the power to you. But we've, I'm a little put off by the overall packaging of it, and apparently you're put off by the nose.
Yeah, so. I'm gonna make sure that it wasn't the glass, because.
No, I just washed that glass.
Yeah, it wasn't the glass.
No,
okay, just making sure. Damn it.
So this is OZ Tyler Kentucky Rye Whiskey. It's 90 proof. It's from Owensboro, Kentucky. It is aged a minimum of 6 months.
And it was originally called the Eagle Distillery.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a horrible smell.
Yes, it
smells
really
very soapy.
I don't know. It has like.
It has that weird. Some ryes get like a weird smell to it, I think. Like that soapy smell. And I think this one is pretty indicative of that. But I am not excited to try this at all. It's a good thing I only got a little airplane bottle of it.
There's something definitely off about it.
It's very it's really grassy smelling too. Like
apparently
it has
this distillery used to make Ezra Brooks, Mellowcorn, Medley Brothers, Old Medley, and whatever Five Brothers is. I don't know.
That Eagle Distillery or whatever?
Because they're trying to be like, a baby MG. Not trying to be. Maybe they are a baby MGP. I just don't know. I'm trying to find the mash bill. And there ain't nothing about it. But only reason why is because I'll look it up later. It has like a fruity quality to it. I think that there's two random guesses I have about this. Mm-hmm. One is that they use a high barley recipe as opposed to using like a synthetic enzyme or anything.
Sure.
Because of the nose, it's very fruity, but it also smells like a wet paper bag kind of thing. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
No, yeah, it's like a wet paper bag, which makes me think that they're not using brand new charred oak, or they're using miniature barrels.
I mean, it says it's in new charred oak, so.
Damn.
I'm hoping that's what it is, but
maybe it's baby bear. I don't know. There's something definitely way different about it. Hey,
cat, get out of the water. She likes to do that every now and then.
That's awesome.
All right, well, I guess in the spirit of the rye episode, cheers, brother.
Cheers. powerful clink too. Oh man.
I can't say I'm a fan.
Not as horrible as I thought.
No, but
Well, I shouldn't say horrible. Not as bad as I thought.
it does have that really young, grainy quality to it. Though.
Yes. And the peppery rye comes on the finish. Oh my gosh. Never mind. I'm sorry. I got way too happy way too quick. So it's not a high barley, which is weird. So this is 5% malted barley, 95% rye. Their bourbon, which they have a bourbon. This isn't the bourbon, right?
I actually have a little airplane bottle of the bourbon as well.
So the bourbon is a high rye recipe, 13% rye, and it's moderate barley at 9% barley. Yeah.
We'll have to try the bourbon in the future too.
And they use normal 53-gallon number 3 char from Kelvin Cooperage. I've never heard of Kelvin Cooperage. Yeah.
You don't hear many places that do number 3.
Yeah, no.
Number 4.
Yeah. Huh.
It is extremely fruity though.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from.
I don't either.
That's weird because I would have thought that there's some type of that it must be all yeast.
Honestly, this really isn't as. I mean, really, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It's a minimum of 6 months. So
yeah,
I think the biggest problem with this is it might even be quality because it kind of has like a decently thick mouthfeel.
Yeah.
So maybe they just released it too early because Willet at 3. I wish I'd have brought that. Willet cast strength single barrel at 3 years old.
it's on the table.
It's on the table. It has like some similar qualities. If this was 3 years old, then it might be comparable too. So maybe it is quality. They just how much does a big bottle cost?
You know what? I don't know. I bet it's probably in the 30 to 50. I would bet it's anywhere from $30 to $50, which I know is a big gap.
Yeah.
But I think that it's pretty reasonable to assume that it's,
I'm drinking Saz for that money, but
oh yeah, me too. Absolutely.
So, what was your first rye that you ever drank?
Oh, that's a great question.
I have 3 questions in this question.
Okay.
First rye, first favorite rye,
okay,
and your first least favorite rye.
Okay.
I don't know if I can answer all those questions.
My first rye that I can really remember was Rittenhouse, Bottled and Bond.
That's a good starter.
And I liked it at first. Really? I really did, but I actually.
And were you already drinking whiskey at this point? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the 100 proof wasn't like gonna put you on.
No, but I wasn't drinking as ardently as I do now.
Yeah. We've seen the videos.
Yeah. All right. Beer Culies.
Yes.
I wasn't drinking it, like I do now, but I was, familiar enough with it to be like, oh, this is good. I will say I don't like it as much now as I used to.
Really?
Yeah, I would take Baby Saz over
Rittenhouse.
Rittenhouse.
Oh, you don't like not rye, but just Rittenhouse specifically.
Yeah.
I agree with that statement. Yeah, for sure. Rittenhouse is like a good quality entry level, but not for a beginner because of the proof.
Yeah.
But no, it's nice.
Definitely. What were the other 2 parts of the
first favorite, first least favorite? Like the first rye you taste, and you're like, that's not good. After you already had been introduced, and then the first one where you're like, this is dope. I think I know your first favorite.
Well, I think my first least favorite was it was either an 06 or an 07 Thomas Handy.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew those were going to be the next words to come out of his mouth. When you said 06, I was like, don't say my favorite year of D Handy.
Dude, I'm sorry. I actually have a little bit left of a sample if you want it. I will be happy to give it to you.
Do you not like it still?
I don't like it still.
What?
Hold on. I'm going to pull it.
There's no way. We might want to wait for that one for the end, though.
No, that's fine, but I gotta make sure that.
Oh my gosh, my heart has never been so heavy. I saw the
life leave your eyes.
Yes, man. Oh man, it's just like delicious. It's essentially just cast strength Saz. It's beautiful, but I don't know. I'm so torn right now. I'm at a loss for words. And what are your feelings on cast strength? Was that what it is for you, or is it literally just not?
I think it was just this one. No, I don't know. I will have to go back and revisit
smell this. I'm gonna just nose this sweet nectar.
So what happened was Chad and Sarah. I was trying to go a whole episode without mentioning Chad and Sarah, and I already 5 minutes in of broken.
I saw the B on this and knew that it was Sarah's handwriting.
So they gave me a little flight of samples for my graduation.
Awesome.
And
Did you see the video of them giving me the double blind?
Oh, were you in that? Yeah. Were you in that group?
No, well, I don't know if I was in a group, but no, I think I was the first person they ever did it with, and they just sent me.
I've not seen it.
Oh yeah, it's. I have it on my phone somewhere.
So it never made it to YouTube or anything.
No, it was on. No, I didn't make it to YouTube. I should have put it on YouTube. I guess it was on one of the Facebook groups, but.
Oh, okay.
They tricked me so bad. I don't remember. It was six. It was 6. I didn't know what
anything
was.
They like to do that. They like to.
They put Poor Man's Pappy in there, and I could not. Like I was just. And the thing is I was nosing. I was like, man, this. I swear this is a weeder. It feels like it is, but it's kind of spicy. I don't know if that's cinnamon or the rye.
Was it their mix of Poor Man's Pappy, or was it?
It was a particular blend of Poor Man's Pappy that was like. It had Olfo 1920.
That's their blend.
So their blend. Yeah, it was pretty. So
it's
on
a 4
point.
grain instead of a.
Yes, it was on point, but it wasn't. For someone who has tasted Pappy quite a bit, I still couldn't like nail down. Like,
sure.
I couldn't tell you, but like definitively, but. It definitely didn't taste like just a weeder to me. It tastes like better than Pappy, honestly, if I'm just being honest.
Well, it was
more interesting.
It won that little competition with the Lexington Bourbon Society, which, says a lot about
it has
that quality.
Full mouthfeel, very viscous, hitting you on all sides of your palate, like, which is important for me. My thing is feel on the palate, at least is like feel and texture more than actual flavors for me personally.
Right.
And it had that, which I don't think Pappy does.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to do that at 90.4 proof.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, they tricked me. But I got 3 of them dead to balls right. Which I'm not even like, I remember after when I saw the results, I was like, I'm not even that awesome. I was just like, my palate was just great that day.
You weren't at that point.
Yeah. Like I was like, what in the world?
But now you can like name stuff. You do really well in blinds in terms of naming.
Well, this was probably at the height of my blinding, but not at a double blind. Like, it's too hard when it could be anything in the entire world.
Sure.
And that was only probably the 5th or 6th one I'd ever done.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I got like 3. I think I got 4 of them right. And then one of them was Jefferson's Manhattan, but it was extra aged.
Oh, okay.
And I got that one right. I just didn't get the extra. I was like, this tastes like Jefferson's Manhattan, but just older. But I can't remember what else was in there. Yeah. But it was fun. It was cool.
Well, and back to your questions, too. Yeah. I think the first one that I really, really was drawn to was Baby Saz. Yes. That one is... And I just killed a bottle of it recently, and I'm going to miss it.
If you need a bottle.
I got it. Chad's got me covered right now.
Oh, yeah, because he has like supply.
He has a ridiculous supply. We're not going to talk about it on air because he doesn't want to reveal his number. But,
yeah, no. No, for me, it would be, my first is Saz. First favorite is Saz. If I wasn't allowed to say Baby Saz, then I would say my honest, which is funny. This is hilarious. My first favorite was Sazerac 18-year rye, which,
wow.
Yeah, and I mentioned it on the previous episode, so I'm not going to go through the whole story, but essentially it was my birthday, and my friends are awesome, and Lisa, who's dope, she's like the nicest human on the world. She's like, hey, you want a car? Yeah, here you go. Like, have mine. She got it for me.
Yep.
And it was one of those like out of body experiences. I was like, this is awesome. The first rye I've had that I didn't like is a hard question because I like a lot of rye. I think the first rye that I had that I did not like, I don't know if I've had one yet. Dang.
Really?
That's kind of hard. I really don't.
Wow.
Like, even this, I could say that this OZ Tyler could be the one.
Yeah.
Like,
but even then, like, honestly,
it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Which is why I like rye whiskey. That is the key in which why I like it. Oh man, there has to be something out there I don't really like.
Marie. Again, I apologize for me yelling at my dog in the midst of
Marie. Yeah, see, I told you I wouldn't be able to answer this question.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Oh, I can give you kind of like a bullshit kind of answer. Wild Turkey 81 rye, I think it is.
I think
86.
That's fair. Yeah.
I love the 101 rye, and I was very disappointed when I tried that. I almost brought the 101 rye.
I think the 101 rye is fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
I saw it in Lexington recently.
Really?
Yeah.
The new bottling?
Yeah.
Damn. I need to.
It's got it.
I almost killed my bottle the other night.
I'm sure it's still there. It's at Well, I'll tell you
Okay,
later.
yeah.
I don't want people flocking
Tell
to
all these fools.
Yeah.
But no, I think that might be it. And it wasn't even I disliked it as much as I was just very disappointed. I was expecting much of the same, and
Sure.
that extra water does not do it well.
Yeah. Well, I
if
don't
I think
think
of
that-
something in the middle of this.
I don't think that the extra water does well for just the Turkey 81 bourbon
Yeah,
either.
agreed.
I mean, I don't think
I don't drink it.
It
The only
tastes
thing
like-
under 101 proof that I drink from Turkey is American honey because it's delicious. But I mean, other than that,
I mean, it's the same thing I feel about Long Branch. It tastes
I
like.
still haven't tried Long Branch.
Oh, well, lucky for you, I have some.
Oh man, I really want to try this stuff. So what's the deal with this? It's mesquite coals filtered over.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't remember. It's the
They're
same.
like trying to do the Lincoln County system.
Yeah,
something else.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I can't do a good Matthew McConaughey impression. I wish I could, or else I would do it right now. But I mean, when you're that handsome, you just do what you want. I guess.
He's fine.
When you're that rich.
He's a good dude. So anyway, verdict on the OZ Tyler.
Verdict. One of the worst rye whiskeys I've ever had. One of the, and that's not even. I'm not even trying to hate because I might meet these people.
Yeah,
because
because I don't think it's.
I think it's moving in the right direction. I think it could be quality one day.
It just needs
I think
to be
it's
older.
I think it is quality now. So let me take my mind to 6 month rye. I've only tried like 3 6 month ryes in my life.
Yeah.
And if I'm tasting against those 6 month ryes, it's comparable to those. Like
Sure.
It has a good mouthfeel. The rye's present. It has this fruity quality and almost like a wet wood or wet paper bag thing that I don't love, but that could go away maybe with more time. But no, I hope that they kill the game.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, honestly, I think that it is more serviceable than some 6-year-old whiskeys.
What's the proof on this?
90.
Oh yeah.
And I think that probably helps it more than anything. You know, the fact that it's not 80, it's not 86. You know, it's obviously been cut down, but not so much that.
Yeah, I think I said barrel entry was 120, which I mean,
That's
to
not-
you super nerds out there.
Yeah, I don't think that's terrible. But anyway,
No.
so I'll probably have this again in the future, maybe.
Yeah, I
mean,
think
it's
serviceable was. Now this is the problem for me. This 6 month year rye probably costs more than Saz 6, the Sazerac Baby Saz, and I'm not cool with that.
No,
So
I agree.
for $20, maybe for $15 for a fifth, $20 for a fifth, $15 for a fifth. Because see, I keep on coming back to like Rittenhouse rye. Would I rather drink this or Rittenhouse? I'd rather drink Rittenhouse.
Yeah, I agree.
So I have to say $16, $17,
Mm-hmm.
$18 tops. I'd pay for that bottle.
Yep.
No idea how much it costs. I've been doing that with my blinds lately.
It's $20.
See, OZ Tyler. Shout out to OZ Tyler for being real ones, bro. Shout out to OZ Tyler for being real ones.
That's pretty good on him. I mean, seriously.
I bet that was really hard for them to do because
I'm
they
sure
could
it
have
was.
definitely released it for $30 and still made money.
Yep.
So, like I said, I guess I said my limit was 18. I mean, if I was buying it for a friend, I'd pay the extra $2. But
Right.
for $25 extra, you get 10 more proof and higher quality and bigger, better mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Than like in the Rittenhouse rye. But definitely, I'm so proud of them right now. I'm so happy.
I really am too.
Maybe there is a bourbon god out there who's just a rye god, because you have things out there. What's the one that's one that I'm. If we're talking about like value, that's the most disappointing rye to me. Period. Not Pikesville. I almost said Pikesville.
Pikesville.
Not Pikesville's delicious. That's what I thought you were going to say is your
love
first
Pikesville.
favorite. That's what I thought you were going to say was your first favorite.
I really do love Pikesville. I haven't had enough experience with it to be
Just
like,
to
this is.
tout it as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What's
I do.
the spot in Louisville?
Peerless?
Peerless.
Yeah.
That's the most disappointing ride I've had.
I don't
recently.
like Peerless very much.
Yeah. And if I did it blind with no price point, I would probably say that it's $40, $35 rye whiskey.
Yeah.
But it costs $100.
Yeah.
So.
It's dumb.
And I'm not even trying to trash them. Good for them. Their packaging is nice.
I love that bottle.
Yeah, they do a good job.
But it's just not a good enough
local,
product.
blah, blah, blah. But nah, man, I ain't doing it. There's too much other awesome. We have better, every single bottle that we're looking at right now is, I would consider, tastier.
I'm really pumped for what we got.
Yeah, so how are you trying to do this? Are you trying to...
Well, first I got to ask you, well, you know what, let's talk about what we're going to pour next, and then I'll ask you the next question that I'm going to ask you. But should we go the vertical of the Willet Rise? Is that too high, too fast?
I think they're all pretty tame. 117 is as high as they go.
And we're reviewing a 119.6.
So I mean, we could start here, just
let's
because that's the lower one. And,
let's do that,
and then we can do that. Then we can come back to this because that's a weird one.
Yeah, it is.
That would work.
Sure.
Yeah, because if we're even doing this as 122, so
right. So what we're about to drink is a single barrel Russell's rye, which you don't see much. You don't see much of these.
Like I said, I'm a whiskey nerd, and
sure.
For the first time, I saw it maybe 2 or 3 days ago, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Now it's non-chill filtered. It's like 101 proof, I think.
So.
I can't remember.
It is. 104.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
well.
Turkey. Okay, Matthew McConaughey. Golly.
All right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. See, so once again, I love turkey, and the nose on that, it's so refreshing to just to get like that rich oak. That, oh man, I love it. I'm obsessed with oak.
Yeah.
As anyone that knows me knows.
Well, before we jump too far into it, I got to ask you.
Ask me.
What have you been drinking recently?
Yeah. I tried Michter's 10-year rye to the 2018. That was good.
Yeah.
Drinking though, that's a different question. Tasting, that would be that, and I had that, and I tasted something else that came out, Gentleman's or something, whatever. Like they're associated with Wessex.
I have
somehow.
no idea.
I don't know. It wasn't good. It was a weeded bourbon. It was not good.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it was high in barley, and it was like super weird. It was weird. It was 90 proof. I don't know. It was bad.
So articulate with your thoughts about it.
Yeah,
though.
it was not good. I'm not trying to trash on them, but it was not good.
Sure.
What I've been drinking at home though, I've been making old fashions with. I went to a draft, fantasy football.
Oh, nice.
Woot woot.
Yeah.
And made rye old fashions with Sazerac.
Nice. Killing it.
And with Wild Turkey 101. Because when you keep 6-7 bottles on Sazerac at all times, you have to figure out ways to use it, and that is still going to be delicious.
So what was your favorite between the two?
101. Yeah.
Really?
In an old fashioned, the alcohol stands up better to the sugar and the Ango. So. Yeah. But that's what I had literally in the sense of recently. At the house, I just killed a bottle of 2014 T Handy. Just killed a bottle of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof 139.8.
Nice.
Just killed it. Yeah,
nice. That was a like.
That's I think it's like 8 or 9. It's under 10.
I was gonna say it was like an 08, 09
yeah.
release.
And then what else did I kill? Killed something recently too. It was a bourbon. I don't know. But yeah, basically, I mean, I drink all the. I mean, I drink. Oh, I killed a bottle of Willet. That's what I killed a bottle of.
Oh, okay. Just the pot still? Or?
No, it was a Willet Family Estate single barrel. I don't remember. It was a 13-year-old. I don't remember the barrel number on it.
Dang.
Which any single Willet nerd out there is like, you're an idiot. You don't remember the barrel number. Yeah.
They'll get over it.
And then I killed a bottle of Four Roses.
Oh, nice.
Because I always kill bottles of Four Roses.
Yeah.
I killed an OBSO 9-year 6-month because I'm trying to get it to where I only have over 10-year-old store picks now.
Yeah.
So I'm just
I need another OBSO in my life, man.
Dude, man, that's what I should have brought over here. I didn't even think about it.
Oh,
dang.
No.
I didn't even think about it. I don't know why I didn't think about it.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, it was a rye episode.
I know. That's why I didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
But no, man, I drink the same stuff, honestly. It's more or less when I drink with other people that I drink different things.
Sure.
But for the most part, I'm 90% of the time, I'm sticking to, my Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
Right.
My Saz and my Willet.
Yeah.
My Four Roses.
Well, I also just killed a bottle of Baby Saz recently.
Really?
And then last night, killed a bottle of 101. Just the 101 bourbon, not the rye.
Regular.
I did a live stream episode where I was just drinking Blanton's.
Okay.
And I did
I've been drinking some
This
Blanton's
year?
lately. I have
Oh,
a store
yeah?
pick Blanton. I'm not like the biggest like Blanton's like person.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like hoorah Blanton's. I'm not against it either. It's good whiskey.
Well, I definitely prefer the gold and the straight from the barrel.
Straight from the
too.
barrel, dude. That's like, yeah.
Yeah, but that's
Melt your face off. Awesome.
That's what I did. Is I went from the single barrel. I did a Liquor Barn store pick, and then went to the gold, and then to the straight from the barrel.
That's cool.
And just like at the end, like, so I just started a new job, and I was just really, really tired by the time I got to the live stream. It's that I do live streams for anybody who doesn't know, I do live streams every Tuesday night on Instagram at 9:00. And by the time it got there, I was just so
Dead.
worn out that I think the first thing I said was, "Don't expect too much of me tonight," which is dumb. But like by the end of it, like I was feeling pretty good and was finally starting to wake up.
Yeah.
But then I just mixed everything together for a little Blanton's
cocktail.
Concoction, and it was pretty good, but nothing like off the wall, super special or fancy or anything. But
no, man. I mean,
I love Blanton's.
I don't know, man. I think unless you're rich, any real bourbon drinker. Well, I don't want to define people as real and not real, but like any like for real bourbon drinker, they drink like store picks and whatever they like. Like no one is drinking Pappy 23 every night unless they're rich. Like, which is fine and they love it.
If they're rich and they can find it.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Like it's a weird dichotomy between the two. But
so I mean, those people are drinking, Saz 18, putting it in old fashions and whatever else, and us normal folk are drinking Heaven Hill White Label. So.
Which is not. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that bottle.
Oh,
Bond.
no,
I mean, it's way
it's
better
delicious.
than the 80 proof. I think the 80 proof is just nasty.
Which one's the 80 proof?
The 80 proof Heaven Hill.
Which color is it? I mean,
well, it's also white.
It's also white.
Yeah, they have a black label version as well.
Yeah, the black
which you see
and the
from
green
time
is
to time.
90, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you get like.
I really like this nose.
You don't like it?
No, I really do
Oh no,
like it. That's what I was
love
saying.
it. No, you get like a I don't know. It's like a strong pepper note that
Yeah.
You get in most ryes.
I bet this would go really well. Not to plug OBC too hard.
Yeah.
But with your all's steak.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I think this would be
also
perfect with the
this
steak.
would really go with the bacon.
Oh,
like the spice and the sweet.
Oh, it'd be
yeah.
perfect.
So we have like this candied bacon at OBC. This is like basically we only have three things at OBC. We have short rib tacos, we have bacon, and we have donuts. Now we have a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like
that's what people.
Will gravitate towards. Like, if you were going to do a cross section of how many times one of those three was ordered per like table, it would be like 90%. Like always, one of those things are going to be ordered, unless they're a vegetarian.
And I mean, that's what I normally get when I.
Donuts. Oh yeah, no, you got short rib tacos last time you came in.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I just stopped in the. I think that was the day that I got done with that tour, and I was like, well, I'll just stop in for a little bit. Yeah.
Made a delicious cocktail.
You did. Iverson made the Lincoln Avenue.
Lincoln Avenue,
which you can hear more about if you go back a few dozen episodes.
Yeah,
jeez, that was a long time ago.
This is surprising.
This Russell's.
Yes, and it's not. I would say underwhelming, but I don't mean it like that. It's very tasty, and
I think it is very tame, though.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So the flavor is there.
Mm-hmm.
Even the like viscosity is there, but I want like a little bit more wake me up. Like I feel like this. If you would have given this to me blind, I would have. So let me restart. For someone, yeah, I do this a lot.
I'll edit all of it. No, I won't do that.
I will not edit any of this. For someone that is just starting off drinking rye whiskeys, maybe you are at the level of drinking like Saz or Rittenhouse. Perfect, because I would say this is less hot on the palate than a Rittenhouse rye.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. I want a little bit more Kentucky hug.
Yeah.
And I get no Kentucky hug, and that's upsetting.
I see that.
But I expect that from a turkey product. But I mean, I think part of the Russell's line is, we're fancy now.
The longer that it sits on my palate, and the more I talk, the more the pepper pops out, and it is very specifically like right down the middle of my tongue.
Oh yeah.
And then like it when I say the word pop, I do mean that's how it like activates on my palate.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
So I think that's really for me the predominant note. But like underneath that,
for 104 proof though, it's just like very.
It's a little
very subtle. Subtle would be probably the correct word to use because it's not a bad thing. A lot of people refer to whiskey as smooth, which is like my I hate
least
that.
favorite.
Yeah, it's my least favorite phrase. No. Somebody the other day they were like, "You used to call whiskey smooth all the time, Iverson." I'm like, "No, there's no way.
Come on,
never,
buddy.
not in 1,000 years." Smooth is cool. There's nothing wrong with saying it. It's just that it's less descriptive than, oh, this whiskey is high proof. Oh, I like whiskeys that are older. Oh, I like grain forward. So there's different things. Smooth can mean 1,000 different things.
Yeah.
But I think for some people that would argue that this is smooth, it's not hot at all on the palate. It's very soothing. And the black pepper finishes, and you get that nice grassy green apple flavor on the palate, which is dope.
And I think that there's a baked goods spice that's kind of hiding out underneath all of that too.
I feel like turkey is known for their cinnamon.
Yeah, for sure. That's what it is. It's a really light cinnamon flavor to it.
But it's nice. It's a good quality rye whiskey.
Yeah, I don't think it would hold up well in cocktails. I think that it would get really lost.
If you would have asked me this before, so when I nosed this, I was like, oh my gosh, this would make a dope old fashioned.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much this bottle costs, but this would make a really good old fashioned. This would be like a really, this is going to be like, boom, a nice little punch in the face. No.
So you're talking about how much this costs. I honestly don't know how much this is. And the reason is because 2 of these bottles that are on this table, I got secondhand. Meaning a guy didn't like them. Like he opened them, didn't like them, and was like, here, just
take
go
these
for
off
it.
my hands.
So yeah, and this is one of them.
Okay.
But I can't remember exactly why he didn't like this one in particular.
The only bad quality I tasted, well, bad meaning something that I don't like, not bad like, as far as quality goes, this is tip-top, classic quality rye whiskey. What I don't love about it is, once again, it's a similar flavor to the OZ Tyler. In comparison, it's just a lot. It's very dim, and it's on the very, very end of the finish. It's this sense of like wet paper bag, like almost like I can't even think of a good word to describe it. Like it's like feels like it's kind of like murky, kind of. I don't want to say swampy, like wet grassy kind of thing.
That. Yeah.
Like wet grass, like. And it's not a bad thing, but it's like when you cut wet grass. That's exactly what I feel like it tastes like.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's just kind of like this damp, like, oh man, I don't love it. I like a little bit more citrus is what I usually like from my whiskeys. I mean, I'm not fancy, but we're saying.
I'm not fancy, but yeah.
And what I've been doing lately though, when I taste things, is I give it a value. So maybe we'll go back through and see. I think this is a $50 bottle though.
I think that's about right.
I don't know how much it costs, but I think I would pay $50 for it. And as far as like the quality, what you're getting, now me personally, at $50, and I know what it tastes like, I'm not getting it, but this is also a single barrel, so.
I'm trying to think, because I did stop by Liquor Barn today just to kind of browse.
Peruse.
And I think that I saw it for $47.
Okay, they're dead on.
Which is not...
I think
it's not horrible, but...
I think you could even charge $65 for this, maybe. But I mean... If I was the boss man, I would charge $50.
It's fine. I think that's the best. It's better than the OZ Tyler one.
Oh my gosh,
leaps and bounds. Because it has a lot more depth to it. I think,
and on the fourth taste and getting that really big swoosh in my mouth, the citrus comes through, the bright flavors come through. On the mid palate and the finish, I really enjoy it. It is after the finish. It's like, 30, 45 seconds in where it starts like already right now. So it's been 15 seconds?
Yeah.
The flavors start to muddle together and it gets kind of weird. But everything before that, money.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
no, $50 for sure.
So as we're moving on to our next pour, I have like a couple questions to ask you too as we're going through this about rye. What is it like specifically that makes you gravitate towards rye? Because I'm, of course, personally, a more avid bourbon drinker. I mean, I do a bourbon podcast for crying out loud. But, I think that rye is also a very enjoyable and reasonable alternative to bourbon.
Yeah. I guess in the words of the great Gary Vee, it's all about these aren't his words, but this is his thought. This is his thought, so to speak. And I'm in the same thought. It's all about value. So if you think of Napa, right? Like Napa 40 years ago wasn't selling like Napa's selling now. And that's because it was known. Now people know it. So now it can be shit wine and be from Napa, and people are going to go nuts. You're going to pay $10 more a bottle off top, or $5 more a bottle off top just from being from Napa. So that tends to carry over in other spirits and distillates. Same thing with like cognac and Armagnac. Cognac, people pay an arm and a leg for. Armagnac, I just bought 3 bottles of Armagnac that are 20. I should have brought that. 2 of them are 21 years old.
You
One
should
of
have
them's
just brought everything that you had in your house.
2 of them are 21 years old. One of them's 30-something years, 40-something years old, and they're all from 20 years ago. Like that's the vintage. And
is that enough, by the way?
No, that's perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, I know you still have to drive back to Lexington.
Yeah, I have to drive at some point. But no, I take big sips. And Armagnac is like amazing, beautiful nutty qualities. So blah blah blah. My thing about rye is that it is at a younger age very comparable to older whiskeys. So you can argue like the whole rule between like Scotch and bourbon. Like to find a comparable bourbon to a Scotch, the Scotch has to be aged 2 to 3 times longer than the bourbon.
Right.
Right. And because of the intensity and all the other things, blah, blah, blah. I think the same thing with rye. I think rye starts hitting its... I mean, Willet has changed the game a little bit with it, but I think generally rye tends to hit its hard stride and awesome in between 4 and 6 years. Bourbon, I think it starts to hit its hard stride probably at 6 or 8 or 8 or 10.
Sure.
So I think the complexity is there. I think there are more distinct flavors in rye than bourbon. Not better, just more quantity.
Right.
And people usually get really pissy when I say that. Like, I just think there are more flavors. Like, and some people don't like that. Like, I think one reason why people just like fall into wheats instantly is because not simplicity, but like those flavors are very gettable. You know what I mean? Like, who doesn't like brown sugar?
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, who loves lemon peels? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and basically in every rye whiskey, you're going to find lemon peel. You're going to find floral flavors like white rose and so, like, you're not going to find those things in bourbon. So that is why I like it. Is just
I've
the variance.
never heard anybody say white rose when they're talking about
I know
any kind of whiskey before. No, but I mean that's what I love too is expanding vocabulary.
Yeah,
and everything too. But
no, it's like, but the nose is, and like I've said this before, like I'm very much a nose-driven drinker. So bourbon, the oak usually dominates that. With rye, there's a beautiful balancing point. T-Handy 06. Where you get the beautiful oak and those beautiful floral flavors, and it creates this like amazing perfume that I'm with. But
so this is a fresh crack on the Willett family.
You can tell too.
Yeah, the Willett family estate, small batch rye, cast strength,
3-year-old
all
small.
that good stuff. Yeah, it's the 3-year. They're not doing 3-year anymore. They bumped it up to 4.
Bro, this is 5. This is their thing too.
And you've got 9 over there as well. And we're going to compare. I don't know if it'll be side by side, but we're at least going to go through the line. I would like to at the very least.
So, and from my understanding, 3 is their own distillate, 5 is their own distillate, 9 is not their own distillate.
Sure. The 3 so far smells just like their bourbon distillate.
Oh yeah.
I mean, seriously, it has that same exact like fruity bouquet.
And so this is funny that you said that. Those words exactly. So there's something about Willet rye that I've never been able to put into words. I don't really. I call it flower skittles, which is complete bullshit. Meaning that it has these nice,
I totally get
these
that.
super vibrant fruity flavors, and that are very plentiful, and they're very bright and sharp.
Yeah.
And that's what you always get, and you get barley in this. But dude, people make so much because we'll be doing a tasting and like I'm sitting down and like, oh, what'd you get on this, Iverson? Oh, flower skittles, man. You're an idiot. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I'm not overly impressed by the nose. I'll be honest with you, but
I usually, boom, yeah, that's me. The nose, no. The nose in the Russells is, I would say, far better. It hasn't reached the amount of oak that I like to balance out the floral notes. On the palate, though, for me, that is the definition of like why I like rye whiskey. Not that it's better or worse. But at 3 years old, the explosion of flavor that just hit your palate, that's a lot of, but you see what I'm saying? People don't like it, but that's a lot of different flavors.
It's so funny, though, because as soon as you said that is when it hit my palate, and it just went...
Dude, it's cool, man. That's why whiskey's cool. And this is a 3-year-old. Now, this 3-year-old is like $35, I think. $40, which is kind of a lot.
Well, it's not as much as some other things that we have on the table, but...
Yes, true. Facts. But
Dad,
at 3 years, man, you can make a turnover quick.
Stuff.
Yeah, it's good, man. And like at 3, think about, there's not a 3-year-old bourbon that I know of that I feel as strongly about. Like, and that's my thing. When you match year to year, price to price, nah, not even close.
Well, I think again, what makes this comparable, or excuse me, what makes this better than 3-year-old bourbons, really is mostly the price, or excuse me, not the price, the proof.
Well. No, it's both, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I think that everything that the
and
palate
by the way, this is cask strength. Like this is not 90 proof
exactly.
at $40. Like this is 107.
It's 107, and I just think that is what you have to give, the most credence to when you're talking about the palate and everything. Is that it's not been watered down.
Yes,
I mean it's really fantastic. I'm at a bit of a loss for words because I'm trying to.
It's all real, bro. That's what that's what I'm about, dude. Like, I am all about. And like I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 more. I am such like a pansy when it comes to like I can spend some money, but when it comes to on myself, like I'm a value driven customer. And you're telling me I can get that much flavor, that much alcohol for $40? I'm like, dang, you're hard pressed to find it. So Weller 12. So let's do the direct comparison. Weller 12 to small batch 3-year rye.
Yeah.
Is Weller 12 a better bourbon than this rye? Most likely, probably. I think you'd have to be real ballsy to say the other way around.
Yeah.
But with this, you're getting more alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting, it costs more. I mean, retail. But it's aged a fourth of the time.
Yeah.
Like, and there's nothing anyone can ever tell me. Like, I'm like, dude, and when we end up getting to this 9-year, I think for me, I would rather drink this. If I'm remembering correctly, I would rather drink the 9-year than Weller 12.
Yeah.
But I'm also a rye dude.
Sure.
So yeah, no, I think it's just awesome.
Sorry, I got to take the dog collar off. Not off of me or Iverson, off of the actual dog.
Dude, I had a situation today. I saw a dog, and I was like, man, I didn't have a collar on. I was like, man, this dog could have like something. I don't know, but luckily somebody was coming over to get it, and I was like,
that's nice,
awesome.
Yeah,
because I was like, do I leave the dog? Like it was on the way here. I was like, do I leave the dog? I don't want to be late. I don't know.
Now get off the table. Get off the table. Again, not Iverson.
Yes,
it's the cat that time.
I'm not doing my table dancing yet. Not drink that much whiskey.
Well, the next thing I want to ask you too is, do you feel like rye is more or less versatile than bourbon is?
The question of a lifetime. So
I know it's
we're gonna have some
a bit
honesty
of a hard
hour.
hitter. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. So
you think it's more versatile than bourbon?
More versatile.
Okay.
So like my homie Brett taught me all the things about all the whiskeys. Actually, like he's super happy. He laid down his own barrel of rye at Castle and Key.
Wow.
Yeah, we
That's
have
incredible.
LBC. We've laid down a weeded bourbon that we have to wait years on, and I think some other places have, like West Main. They've laid down 1 or 2 barrels, and those are the only ones in town that I know have done it. But either way, no. As far as cocktails go, 100%. The multitude of flavors are going to lend itself to,
and that's what I was getting at. That's what I was
Yeah.
getting at more than anything.
The only problem is when you're trying to be simple. So if you do want just a simple old fashioned, and you want to taste the flavors and the bitters and sugar, like rye doesn't always help that because of all the intensity of flavors. But anything else, no, rye. Now, what I actually do for me, because I do like the cocktails at OBC,
Cat.
What I do is I just use extremely high rye bourbons.
Yeah.
So I can call it a bourbon on the cocktail list because people have a connotation of it. Like they're like, ooh, I want bourbon. I'm at a bourbon bar. I want bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
But I still get the flavor balance and the alcohol balance from something like an Old Grandad,
sure.
as opposed to using like no shade at Maker's Mark, but using a Maker's Mark, which it all has its place. Like there's cocktails that don't work for Old Grandad that work beautifully for Maker's Mark. especially like super fruity flavors like watermelon
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So yeah, I think rye's more versatile. I think it's a double-edged question. I think rye's more versatile. So
Yeah.
cocktails, yes. Sipping, yes. On rocks, yes. But versatile meaning like if I were going to invite 30 people over my house, am I going to buy 4 bottles of rye and 1 bottle of bourbon? Absolutely not, never.
Yeah.
I'm buying 4 bottles of bourbon and 1 bottle of rye.
Maybe.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's just it's this the game of it's what's in. It's the Napa of the world right now. Bourbon is, which there's nothing wrong with that. Bourbon's
Sure.
delicious. I'm not like hating on bourbon.
Cat.
Cat loves.
Why?
I will love on you. But rye whiskey is like Spanish cabs and stuff. Like it's just like the up and coming. So
Sure.
I feel like right now it's nice. 10 years from now, it will not be nice. It'll be just as expensive as bourbon. A 3-year-old rye whiskey will cost you. They won't. A 3-year-old rye whiskey will kind of like what we've been talking about with what's the place in Louisville? Peerless. Like a 2-year-old rye will cost $100 because they're like, oh wait, this is what's going on. And I mean, in Kentucky, bourbon's king, but out west, nobody gives a damn. They're drinking Bullet Rye.
Even Northeast.
Yep.
Too. I mean, like Pennsylvania and Maryland.
They're drinking.
I mean,
rye
they were the
they
the
have their own
rye
style
capitals
rye,
of America until Prohibition hit and everything. But I don't personally know if it's more versatile than bourbon is, and that may just be because
says the bourbon drinker.
But I think that's just because I don't have enough experience with rye.
Okay.
To, really go one way or another.
Yeah,
But
and that's the thing. At the end of the day, it's all about whatever you like and what you drink. Because I'm not ever here to tell someone, oh, like you're an idiot. Rye's better.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same tone, just like from a flavor standpoint, I don't know. It's just I think lends more into various types of cocktails and whatnot. Right now, I'm trying to look up the difference between a Maryland style rye. I don't know. It's something about the mash bill.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's also the way that it's made prior to being aged. I can't remember for sure. I did a little bit of research on it, but not enough to, be an expert.
Oh, man, I'm about to not care. Yeah, there's no way. They're saying stupid things.
Well, let's hit up this 5-year-old.
The 5. I'm just going to use the same.
I was going to suggest we do that because we have a couple of things that we still have to get to as well.
Greatest thing about the single barrels of Willet is they have tubes, and tubes make you feel sexy.
They are. It's funny. The 5-year and the 3-year are just about the same color. No, that one is. Sorry,
I'm going to pour you more because you don't have to drive.
but not by much. Because we still have to review.
Oh, yeah.
We still have a whole, another half of the show. It's all good. It's all good.
Well, then I will not get you drunk.
You can definitely smell more the oak and the.
Yep, it's the same exact thing at 3 years old. And the biggest difference here is which is also good, which is on accident, that we tried the 3-year-old small batch. Now we're trying a 5-year-old single barrel.
Yeah.
And so specifically the master distiller at Willet, he tends to pull maybe 4 or 5 barrels from each year. So he doesn't pull a lot to do single barrels out of, and they're just that exceptional. Mm-hmm. So I wish I would have brought the 3-year single barrel. That would have been cool. But if you taste a 3-year single barrel next to the small batch, it's like not even close.
Night and day.
Yeah, it's night and day.
That's awesome.
The oak profile is more similar to this one than the last.
Yeah.
So
I think this is just an exceptional nose.
yeah, it's a lot better than so the 3-year didn't have as much oak on it, and it just let those floral flavors really just come through, and it wasn't as nice. This one's more balanced. Now, I haven't tried this one in a long time. It's a single barrel rye. It's barrel number 426 at 108.6 proof. I remember this being one of my favorite ryes that I have in my cabinet right now.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but This is far superior to what we just had.
So this has balance.
But it also has that explosion.
Has
that
the same
the
explosion,
did.
but it has the oak balance, the nice sweetness from the oak coming through.
And the explosion's quicker, though.
Yes.
It's much more
and
straightforward.
longer lasting, too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite bourbons that I have. The 3-year
Bourbons?
single barrel. Ooh,
gotcha.
Dang.
Gotcha.
This is one of my favorite whiskeys that I have in my closet. Got him.
You have a whole closet? Some people have bunkers. Some people have shelves.
I don't have a closet. I don't have that much. No, I have my grandmother's china cabinet.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, my grandmother is like, what the hell? She's West Indian, so she's like, what is this bourbon?
She wasn't much of a drinker.
Yeah, no,
sure.
She drinks like, I think she drank like rum and beer.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Gotcha.
She's from St. Thomas, so
that's where your mom lives too, right?
Yeah, that's where my mom lives.
Yeah.
So my grandma was born and raised there. My mom, like 2 years ago, she was living in St. Thomas. She still lives in St. Thomas, but she lives out in what they call the country. But she lived like it's kind of cool. Like she lives like 5 minutes away from where my grandma went to freaking elementary school. Like, so it's kind of weird to like live the same experience as your parents, kind of
right.
thing.
Yeah.
But no, so she doesn't know shit about whiskey or care about it. I mean, my grandma wouldn't have known. But the funny thing about St. Thomas is there's Angostura bitters in every single restaurant because they cook with it. It's medicinal.
Mm-hmm.
It's originally started in Trinidad. It's a Trinidadian bitters.
Right.
And super medicinal and used like in cooking, brining chicken, whatever. So I know that obviously because I just told you, but I didn't realize it. So I would go to a restaurant and be like, "Oh, yeah, I'll get a Manhattan," and they just look at me like, "What do you want, boy?" And I'm like, "I just want a Manhattan, bro." Like,
that's so perfect.
Yeah,
you do that accent so perfectly.
Man, it's
so
in
your. I guess it's in your blood.
It's in my blood,
so,
quite literally. The
yeah.
dopest thing about two dope things about St. Thomas. 3 dope things. One that is inconsequential to this, inconsequential. I don't know which word is proper. Inconsequential to this conversation is they have a dope cigar selection there. Cheap cigars too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, not cheap, but they're like all like $1 or $2 off because it's all closer there. 2 is they. Cat's beating up your dog. 2 is when I was there, I went to this random hole in the wall bar where it was a cash only bar, and it's like on the side of a mountain essentially, and they freaking have 1986 Wild Turkey 101 8-year Austin Nichols. Oh, dude, I drank half the damn bottle just sitting there. I was loving it. I asked them if I can buy the bottle. They're like, "Oh, our owner's on vacation right now." The funny thing is, they go to vacation to cold places. Their owners are on vacation in Alaska, so which I don't understand. I think they had like American owners that lived in St. Thomas, bought a bar, and they just do their thing. But either way, yeah, I was pissed. And then other dope thing is the duty free, like straight from the barrel and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
Gosh, man. But back to the whiskey.
What were we talking about?
Yeah, right. The only thing
this is so good though, man. I'm such a big fan of this. I would put this
chocolate on it. Nice chocolate.
That's what I was just about to say too. Is that it reminds me so much of the chocolate that you find on Elijah Craig.
Yeah.
And I would easily put this on par with some of my favorite Elijah Craig barrel proofs.
And once again, folks, this bottle is $55, I think, and we're comparing it to 12-year-old cask strength whiskey. Like, this is why rye whiskey is awesome.
Yeah.
Verbatim. Now, this is a single barrel, and like I said, he picks 4 or 5 barrels a year of rye whiskey to allow them to be released as single barrels. So it's the best of the best. This is quite exceptional to the small batch in general. So, and
who's the master distiller at Willow?
Oh man, I should know this instantly off the top of my head. I knew you were going to ask that question. It's Dave. I can't say his last name. Let me Google this really quick. Everyone's like, "You're an idiot." It's Dave. Blah blah.
Well, in the meantime, I mean, this is just an exceptional whiskey. I mean, I am over the moon about this, and it's not often that like. I sit around and I go, this is by and large one of the better things I've had recently. But this is by and large one of the better things I've had in recent memory. And I am floored by how good this is. And I Like, if I think this is that good, I can't wait to find out what the 9 years like.
Oh, dude, that's the only weird part about it is that with the 9 year, it's not there. I said Dave, didn't I? Damn.
You did say Dave.
People just shot me. I just got shot in the streets. Pimp in distress. No, Drew Colstein.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah,
That's right.
I suck. So he is pretty much a beast. And I don't even like. And this is the thing. I guess some people never really like fully respected him as a master distiller. Everyone has always respected him on his palate. Like he picks good barrels. He doesn't really pick bad ones. Now that his own whiskey is coming out, we're gonna try the 9 year in a second. And
yeah, we are.
I've had the 9 year. I love the 9 year. When this 5-year-old whiskey is 9 years old, I guarantee this is my money back guarantee. The 5-year-old will be better than the 9 year. So I think I don't know mash bill yeast. I don't know. But I know the 9 year is MGP. I'm pretty sure, which isn't even a proven fact either.
I don't even care. I like some.
Oh, dude, it's
I
good
think
as
MGP's
good.
fine.
Oh yeah, dude, I have no hate.
No,
unless you're Bullet.
No. Oh. And that's why you said, "Hey, you want to try something else other than Bullet?" The first time that I met you.
Yep.
And it all went.
I don't know. I kind of do hate on Bullet a little bit.
Do you?
Even though like I've never met Tom Bullet, Nate. He's met him a couple times, and he sounds like a G. He sounds like what's the show where they like smoke cigarettes and smack women on the ass? If anybody just said the name out loud in their head, that's awesome.
I know that plenty of people have. Mad Men.
See, I love you, Perry. I love Perry. He literally knew from me saying smoking cigarettes and slapping women on the ass.
That's all they do in that show.
Yes, not that either one of those things are necessarily good or okay, but that is all that happens on that show. So yes, Mad Men.
I got that.
Don Draper, is that his name?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm
John
awesome.
Hamm.
See,
John
I'm
Hamm
so good
Draper.
at what's the game? Taboo. That's why I'm good at that game.
Man.
I say random shit and people just get it. It shoots into their brain like.
I can't believe I got that. Anyway, so Tom Bullett's son is like
apparently
Don Draper. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Just a cool dude, like cool story. Not in the
hold
not
on.
in the womanizing like
I was gonna
disrespectful
say
way.
let's back up a little
More
bit.
in like the super cool, suave, tons of stories. Everybody wants to listen to him talk.
Okay, I got you. Well, enough hate on Bullet because I actually still like Bullet, but I want to find out what this
Honestly,
9
there's
years
nothing
like.
wrong with Bullet. I think my biggest thing is it's actually my worst quality.
You got such full bottles of all of these,
dude. So the problems of having too much whiskey.
Look at that color.
It's beautiful.
Oh,
so like all my bottles are like open at my house. There's very few bottles that are not open.
That's how
and
I am too.
I've stopped opening them because I may be moving in the next year.
Sure.
So I'm like, I'm not trying to move open bottles. That's just stupid. Mm-hmm. But most of my bottles are open, but I just drink. Like when he asked me what I've been drinking recently, I taste a lot. So I'll pour a half ounce of like 3 different things and try them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do that a lot.
I get that.
Yeah, the color on this is nuts.
I think the nose is nuts.
The color is darker than the 06 Willet sitting in, or the 06 Handy sitting in front of us. I mean, by a lot.
By quite a bit, yeah.
I mean, and that 06 Handy, I think, and some people are going to yell.
It might be 07.
Okay. Well, I think 06 was the cutoff. It was either 06 or 08 was I could be wrong about that anyways. Before 2012, there was a cutoff on it being, now I really am questioning myself. Before 2012, there was a cutoff of when T. Handy used to be 8 years to when it's now it's 6 years.
Right.
So, I mean, at this point, T. Handy is cask strength Saz, essentially, 6-year-old, which I'm still trying to get them to do a single barrel of.
This smells like a bourbon.
I will say this. I'll say 2 things about this. That's very astute of you. Yes, this does smell like bourbon.
It smells very bourbon-y.
Now, this is something that rye doesn't ever have, which this specific flavor, okay, let me not say never has. I never get this from rye, which is honey. It's a very unique bourbon quality. And you get honey on this nose.
Yeah, totally.
Like that medicinal oaky flavor, also known as honey.
The rye spice is really present on the nose.
Yes.
And I don't think that it's been as present on either of these other 2.
No.
But this one in particular.
Full on pepper.
Yeah.
So if I had to guess, I would say that the now distillate is a high rye recipe, and the previous recipe was a lower rye recipe.
I would think
maybe
so,
close
too.
around 51.
Yeah.
One. The other thing I was going to say is this also smells like a Canadian rye whiskey, which we don't have. Oh, we do have one. Dope. No, this is MGP. Damn it.
We don't. Look, I'm gonna say we don't try
Yeah.
that one, but
Yeah, no. But it's so for mash 90. Yeah, this is definitely MGP because it's 95% rye. Oh, this is probably Canadian though. Sorry, I'm just randomly saying.
no, it's all good. So what we're talking about here, just for context, the first one we were saying was the Redemption 7-year barrel proof straight rye whiskey.
It's absolutely delicious. No
Right.
hate. Like it's good.
I think though that we're on such a good upward path.
I'm with you on that.
That
I'm
I want
100%.
to. So game plan. I think the next one we need to do is the Michters.
Yeah.
And that'll be our last one before we actually review the Knob Creek.
Oh yeah, I think that's
So,
perfect.
yeah.
I'm good with that. 1,000,000% good with that.
Yeah.
I'm still trying this no matter what happens. Because I've never tried.
Yeah,
this.
we'll do that. We'll do that. I don't know if that'll be off air, on air. We'll do that kind of as a wrap up, I think.
Or you can do it on air and then cut it out if you want to.
No, we'll do it on air and do it as a wrap up as we're doing tips and bits
Okay.
later on too.
But
anyway,
my final, the second thing I was going to say is this has very unique qualities of like an Alberta type rye, which Alberta ryes are very silky, very sweet, and not really heavy rye. But that's only a hint of what you get on the nose. But the black pepper and the cinnamon is the initial, and the honey.
Honestly, if you had told me this was a rye instead of a bourbon, if you had completely blinded me with it, I would have said you're crazy. Because it tastes that much like
The only
a
thing that
bourbon.
gives it away is because we've tried 3 and 5.
Yeah, totally. And it tastes. It has that.
This is gonna be weird, and you're gonna say I'm weird. Specifically, candy cane peppermint type stuff.
Yeah,
on the finish
for sure.
On the mid palate, really. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, man. I mean, I think you're right. Up front, rye. Nose, rye. Up front on the palate, or sorry, bourbon. Up front on the palate, bourbon. On the finish, you get that Skittle rainbow, Skittle flower, whatever the hell I was talking about. You get that on the finish a little bit, and it kind of breaks through some of the brown sugar, and that's when you're like, oh, that's weird. So I think if you were doing a double blind, this is exactly what would happen. You would taste it, and you'd be like, oh, that's a bourbon.
Yeah.
And I do an eliminating style of blinds. So I nose it, and I just nose it for whatever I smell. Don't have anything in my head. And then I write that down. And then I think, okay, Iverson, do you smell rye whiskey? Do you smell rye? Do you smell citrus? Do you smell flowers? Mm-hmm. I don't smell those things. I'm like, okay, it's a bourbon. And I move on from there. And on this one, I would have tasted the first time, like, okay, most likely a bourbon.
Yeah.
I taste honey. I taste brown sugar, baking spices. And then I'm like, oh, wait,
But
very
there's something
floral on the
else.
finish.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have called it a rye, though. I think you're right. I think
I would even go so far as to think that it was like a bourbon and rye blend. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, because it's so much in each of those directions that it's hard to pin down one or the other. I think
that's what I've been saying, folks. That's what I've been saying, man. Like balance, man. Like Weller 12 is great. It's delicious. Sweet on sweet on sweet is still always going to be sweet on sweet on sweet. I think it's crazy if you have any foodies on here, when you get like that steak that has like, when you take that first bite and you're like, is that salty? And if that's your first thought, and then you say no to that question, it's probably gonna be one of the best steaks you ever had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when the seasoning is so close to over the edge that it's perfect, and that's what I think rye whiskey can do for you, especially at this 9-year age where it's like, is it a rye or a bourbon? Like the sweetness is there, the spice is there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Lucy made a steak like that the other night, by the way.
Really?
Oh, dude, she made maybe the best steak I've ever had in my entire life.
And it's random when it happens. You know when it happens, though.
I mean, but she made so she left some of that concoction in another little shaker bottle for future reference because she was like, "This is the best thing I've ever made," and like
awesome.
if I don't have this mix
It is
down the
not
road,
gonna be as
it's
good.
exactly.
Dude,
But
that's
anyway,
real though, man.
yeah.
That's absolutely
Anyway,
real.
that's beside the point, though.
No, I think that the only rye whiskey off the top. Now, the funny thing is, we're about to taste my favorite rye whiskey of. Oh shit, it's not my favorite. Damn, it's my favorite rye whiskey that I own that is open. It's my favorite rye whiskey.
You brought this over and it's that low.
Yeah,
And this is your favorite?
I'm gonna buy another one.
Well, I
Dude,
don't
this
blame
is
you,
the
but
best deal
still.
on secondary. $170 for this? Are you kidding me?
That's not bad at all.
All day long, bro.
That's not bad at all.
Like, no.
I need to find a bottle of the 10-year bourbon.
10-year bourbon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that stuff's pretty good too. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you on
Well,
that.
we'll talk about that later.
I for some reason am the hookup on 10-year bourbons for people. My homie, I got him 2 bottles, an open bottle and a closed bottle.
Daggone, that 9-year rye, so good.
It's good. But no, I was going to say that Booker's Rye does a better job of tricking you into thinking it's bourbon. There is better balance there too, because it's definitely on the edge of alcohol, sweetness, and spice.
Yeah.
This doesn't have the alcohol. Now, this is 117.6 proof. It is full mouthfeel, very viscous, big explosion of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. But Booker's is 136.2.
Right.
So
yeah, and you like the Booker's Rye too, right?
Yeah, my biggest regret.
Because that may be my favorite rye of all time.
That may be my favorite whiskey.
I mean,
no, that's
I wouldn't be mad at you if you said that was your favorite whiskey of all time.
Okay, my favorite rye that I've ever had in my entire life. Oh man, people are gonna hate if they've ever had it. They're gonna so hate is Willet 25-year-old rye.
Wow,
that shit right here.
Dang.
Yeah, no, that shit's dope, man. That Willet 25-year-old rye. And that's because I'm a person of variance. If you know what you like and you're like, ooh, I love honey, you're going to go after the honeysuckle bourbon or rye.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Me, I like difference. I like things that taste weird and different. Willet rye, 25-year-old, taste weird. I just don't have $2,500 to buy.
Well, no.
But dude, I remember when I first started getting in the bourbon game, man, like they couldn't pay someone to buy it. I think it was in the gift shop for $200 or $300, maybe $300. And
that's so
it
reasonable.
just sat on the shelf,
that's
man.
So reasonable.
I didn't even buy it.
Right
I didn't even buy it because at that point I was like, I like Saz. I was an idiot. I like Sazerac 6-year rye.
That's
blah
so
blah
reasonable
blah.
right now.
Reasonable? Yeah, it's extremely reasonable.
Yeah.
If that was on a shelf right now, and that's the thing we were talking about this before we went on, but like the bourbon community has completely shifted into like I say I'm value based, but more of a commodity based, you could argue.
Sure.
And it kind of has to be because more people are interested. So if you want good whiskey, you have to have it. There's no like walk in the store and get it. So that drives up market price, supply and demand. So I just think we've gotten to a space now to where that'll never happen again. You'll never have a 25-year-old whiskey sitting on a shelf for $300.
No.
Ever again.
I'm really excited.
Sat there for over a year, a half a barrel of it.
That's so weird. Man.
Just a half a barrel.
Well, but the market was completely different.
So different, man.
Point.
Yeah. It makes me want to cry.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Perry, but it's Perry, and I got to talk to you about our sponsor for this week. So this week's sponsor is the Restillery, which is a group of bourbon enthusiasts who take used bourbon bottles and build them into these absolutely gorgeous lamps. Davin and the gang over there are super passionate about what they do and really, quite frankly, do it the absolute right way. They have actually built for me a lamp with a used Blanton's bottle that is sitting on top of a barrel head and surrounded by the Blanton's corks. And of course, if you know anything about the Blanton's corks, you know that you get all of them and they spell out the name Blanton's, and it's a super cool and unique collector's piece for any bourbon lover. If you want to check them out, of course, you can always find them on social media at the Restillery. They are wonderful people and would be happy to help you out with a gift for the bourbon lover in your life, especially as we approach the holiday season. So definitely be sure to check them out. A link to their Facebook page is found below in this episode's description. And thank you so much to the Restillery, as always, for being our sponsor. And now, back to the show. Well, I am super pumped for this next pour, which is our last one before we get to our review of the episode. I'm feeling pretty good so far. You feeling all right? Yeah. We've had a lot of rye.
This is interesting too because this is low proof, so this is 92.8.
We should have had this earlier then.
The thing is
no,
the
we
flavor.
shouldn't?
Well, I don't think it matters. Like Proof always matters.
Oh, okay.
Love that sound.
That was
Greatest
the
sound
most
ever.
anticlimactic
Oh,
cork
man.
pop I've ever heard.
That low deep.
Yeah. Holy crap, dude! Don't hand me this bottle. I'm scared. I'm scared to pour.
Some, son. So, story behind this bottle.
Which, by the way, this is the Michter's 10-year single barrel rye.
Yeah.
What year is this from?
2016.
Jeez, you've done good to hold on to that for that long.
I basically didn't drink it for a year, so I really haven't.
Yeah.
So, story behind this bottle. My best friend played football with him, Britton Abshire. He had a child, and he's like, we have like this tight group of friends. We've been friends for forever, and he was the first one to have a kid. So we were like, we got to get a bottle. I don't know how he tricked me into this shit. Now that I think about it, we got to get a bottle to celebrate, like, you know, like my kid being
You got some
born,
floaters
blah,
in
blah.
there
Do
too.
you
By the
really?
way. Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome.
No, it's all good. I don't mind.
I can't tell if it's char or something else.
No, I think it's the cork.
Oh damn.
No, it's definitely cork floaters.
We're about to see. That's what I said. I need to kill this thing. So I was like, I'm gonna bring a bottle to the hospital to drink with you when you have your kid.
Right.
We go over to his house, and we had already drank a little bit. He poured. I mean, there's 6 of us. He poured more than half my bottle in that one night.
Oh my gosh!
And granted, I got the bottle for $140. Like, it's not like it matters, but I was like, oh shit! Like, you were serious.
Yeah.
So damn it. Yeah, that's good. So this is why I like this. So out of the ryes we've had so far, this is on the completely other spectrum of rye. It almost gets like, oh man, I hate that I'm using nerdy terms, but like a rubber pellet note, like, which I love.
All right, Fred Minnick.
Fred Minnick.
That's okay.
Is,
I like Fred
right?
quite a bit. I mean,
No,
he's
dude,
a great guy. I love Fred.
No, dude, his shit's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I see that, but it doesn't take away from the more citrusy notes.
Yes, and I was going to say the citrus on it is big.
Yeah.
And as well as the rye spice, you still get that rye spice on the nose,
But less so than some of the more citrusy notes on the nose. But I think that it's a very enjoyable nose overall.
I'll say this too, after taking a sip. This is, out of all the whiskeys we tried, damn it, I love this. It is the thickest at 92.8.
Whoa.
It's like drinking a milkshake. It's so thick. Like, actually, when you first put it in your mouth, you're like, this is trash. It's not even good. You can't taste anything because it's so thick until you give it a good swish and thin it out a little bit. The finish is really nice. It's long. I prefer this to the one that came out this year. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I've not had the one that came out this year yet, but I am super interested in trying it, especially after this. But maybe I shouldn't try it.
Yeah.
Now that I really think about it, because
Come on in OBC. The water's fine.
I've never been to OBC before. What's it like? I'm just kidding. I'm sure it's a great place. Dude, this is phenomenal.
And I guess the only critique I could give on this, just because we had so much Willet in a row, and now I'm realizing it for the first time ever. The problem with this rye whiskey, the reason why it's not Booker's Rye, and the reason why the year that this came out was the same year Booker's Rye came out, because they do some weird thing.
Yeah.
So this is the 2016 Michter's 10 Rye, but it came out in 2017 or something weird like that.
Right.
On the front end, it is not good. It's not a good rye. Like, when it first enters your mouth, you taste almost nothing, maybe a little bit of barley. And after that, mid-palate to finish, really even in the front of the palate, it's fine. It's just when you first put it in your mouth, you're like, and then it's just like, boom. And the Willet was the exact opposite, I feel like.
My only critique of that, though, is that it seems to move so quickly from the from the front palate to the middle palate that you don't even notice.
We're getting super nerdy right now. Like, if you don't drink whiskey every day, you would not even notice it.
No, but like it so quickly goes over the palate, and maybe that's my only critique of it is that I don't think the finish is incredibly long.
No, it's not.
But the Kentucky Chew on it, is really interesting because that's
the best that we've had so far.
Yeah,
I could swish this in my mouth for 10 minutes and be happy.
I think I probably could too.
You know what I mean? Like,
but that's where like the baking spices and the chocolate, and it's a really fine dark chocolate note too that comes in between
The floral qualities on this is what I think separates it from all the other whiskeys we've tried so far, because
I see that
it stays floral. You know what I mean?
see that.
Like it stays interesting.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah,
I think this is easily the one that I've had the most, not trouble with, but the one that I've been the most like, what's really going on here, and it's taken me.
Oh, absolutely.
Like being able to talk about it to really,
and also because it's so damn thick, it's very viscous. It's hard to break down. Yeah, but this is the flavor specifically of two things: one, honeysuckle; two, white rose that I was talking about.
It does have that honeysuckle on it.
Yeah,
but I think the honeysuckle though is a little bit more light and a little less aggressive than I've had on some. Because like a few episodes ago, we did a review of Weller 107, and
love Weller 107.
Tanner brought up that it has a very predominant honeysuckle note to it, and I totally get that.
It's just regular 107 we're talking
Yeah, just regular 107. And I definitely tasted that, but with this, it's a lot more subdued. You kind of have to hunt for it a little bit more.
No, yeah, it's more on the like if anyone's ever eaten a honeysuckle, you usually eat like
which I have and I love, and it's
how do you say stamens? Is that what they're called? Stamens.
Stamens.
So yeah, you usually eat the stamens. You don't eat the flower,
right?
But this is like if you ate the entire flower, like. You get the floral notes from the actual, like, whatever those things are called. And then, we're not in biology class right now, so I'm not trying to get too nerdy. From the petals, and then you get the sweetness from the stamens, the inside part, the yellow part. And yeah, it's nice, man. This is nostalgic, too. So, which is the whole point of whiskey. Like, I feel like we live in a culture of nostalgia. So, people buy Tide because their grandma bought Tide. They just, you don't buy Tide because it works better than. I don't even know another brand because my mom only bought Tide.
Right.
Quite literally right now. Can't think of another
Walmart brand.
Walmart brand, right? Like, I don't buy Walmart brand. Like, I buy Tide. I buy Tide because my mom bought Tide. I don't even know another brand. Oh, shit. I can almost think of another brand of detergent right now. Anyways, I don't know any other detergent brands because I always buy Tide. I don't even look at the price of it, dude. Like, it's all because of like nostalgic behavior that we, I think all humans exhibit.
Well, I think that, going back to like the history of rye, I think that we owe so much to like rye. I think was a little bit more of American history than bourbon was.
I mean, it's kind of like the dark past of whiskey. Like people just. It'll never it'll never get the shine that it deserves.
I don't think it will either, and it's unfortunate because I feel like it was on an uptick. And this is, solely based on my opinion and research, but like it was on a very good uptick until Prohibition hit.
Yep.
And then Prohibition hit and people afterwards were like, "Oh, this is fine," but then the 60s and 70s hit and it just never really recovered.
Well, Prohibition happened, and everyone was like, Prohibition happened, and during Prohibition, people were drinking, like, these, like, fake cocktail, not fake cocktails, but cocktails with all these, like, sugary sweet ingredients. That's how the modern-day old-fashioned came to be with the orange and the cherry. People were drinking these, like, fake juices and all this stuff. They're drinking mocktails and stuff, and that happened because of... like this sweetening of the palate, the lack of alcohol. And I think now with rye whiskey, you have this peppery, floral spirit that is closer. If we're comparing it to other spirits, I always like to compare it like this. I say IPAs are rye whiskey and wheat beers are bourbon. So like, you know what I mean? Like wheat beers are gettable. Yeah. That's why they're hella popular. And, IPAs are not as gettable. They're not as popular.
Sure.
But now they've risen to this point of extreme popularity. Like, people are obsessed.
Yeah.
So, I think...
And it's definitely coming back into vogue, too.
Oh, yeah.
But it's more of that...
With specifically our generation, I think.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that.
Bullet Rye for the win. I found out the other day, we did on the episode that has not released yet, or maybe has released yet, we just got done doing a Woodford Rye single barrel selection.
Yeah.
And we did,
I started the video early, but it's most of this is going to get edited out until.
Good.
So for anybody,
flick off the camera.
For anybody who doesn't know, though, we started videoing the review for every episode, and that goes up for Patreon and everything. Cool. But I just wanted to go ahead and do that while we were kind of in the midst of conversation, and so I didn't have to get up in between or anything.
Smart man.
But we're finishing up our conversation mainly about rye whiskey, and then we're going to get into our review here soon. But I will say, I have not sat down with this much rye whiskey ever.
Oh, you're missing
and
out.
This has really gotten me to the point where I will.
He's about to say it. Go ahead, y'all. Go ahead, start the hand clap.
No. It's not that I prefer it to.
Oh, he's
bourbon.
full of shit right now.
No, because I don't. Because there are so many bourbons that I would rather fall back on than rye. But this gives me a reasonable alternative and a viable alternative to bourbon.
I will say a lot of people's apprehension with rye whiskey specifically, and I can even say this with you, is there is not a $15 good, and that's not because anyone's cheap or rich or anything. There's not a good $15 rye whiskey.
Right.
Like if anyone can name this, please comment, post, email.
Old Overholt?
Smoke Single. See, like Old Overholt is a good example of not a, like, by good, I mean warning you not to spend more. So
have you had the bottled and bond?
Yeah, it's good. No, okay. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's bad. It's not bad.
Sure.
Heaven Hill White Label at $14 makes me not want to spend $30.
I totally get
You know
that.
what I mean? And Old Overholt Bottle and Bond, I don't know how much it costs. What is it, like $16? That does not want me not.
I think so.
It doesn't want to make me not spend $30.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, I think at a cheaper quality, you're not getting quality. That's because rye's quality it's expensive. Like, it starts at the $30 mark. The thing is for that $30, you're getting every bit of your worth. And I feel like at bourbon's super popular and awesome and blah, blah, blah.
And we also have the cats all jumping up around it.
But with bourbon, you're typically not going to find quality until you get to like that $50. Well, that's not true.
I completely disagree with that.
But no. That's perception, I'm saying. Not what me and you actually think, but like you're not going to get quality until you get to $50 or $60.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that what rye lends itself towards is more of avid spirits drinkers.
Yeah.
I guess.
Agreed.
Like it has
100%.
a more. And I won't even say interesting because I think that it is. I think that bourbon is very interesting too, but I think that bourbon is a little bit more approachable than some other spirits. I think that Scotch has more depth and richness to it, but it takes longer.
I agree.
And I think that's why
I think Scotch drinkers usually lend themselves towards rye for that reason.
I could see that.
Yeah, just the amount of flavors. That's it. But I mean, you know what? Bourbon is like I don't know, New Balance of the, it's a New Balance. Like New Balance is a good shoe.
So what's the Nike?
That's rye. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say rye is Nike. And that's just what.
Wait, what's Scotch? What's Scotch then?
Oh shit.
Air Jordan?
Adidas. K-Swiss is like Japanese whiskey. I feel like K-Swiss is on a major uprise.
Right.
And I feel like that's Japanese whiskey right now.
Yeah. Well, you want to move on to our review then? Yeah.
Yes.
So, again, we are recording via video for Patreon. And we are reviewing the Knob Creek Cask Strength Rye, which is the 20... It's the 2018 limited edition Knob Creek release,
yes.
I think. I can't remember exactly.
Yep. I think you're dead on balls there.
Whiskey so far.
All the whiskey.
And I'm super excited about this. I have liked this prior to actually reviewing it. But, hey, Marie, stop. Leave it over there for the viewers.
For the homies at home.
And then there's this is Berlioz over here, the little cat. But anyway, I have liked this prior to tonight. I'm really interested to actually like go in and break
Deep
it
dive
down
on it.
and everything.
Yeah, I can tell you liked it. There's a quarter bottle gone.
Well, I mean,
It's pretty legit.
sorry.
I'm proud.
I mean, it's been
Proud
around.
dad brother. That's my official title. My sister gave me the title of dad brother
Dad, brother.
because
I get that.
I like grew up with her being her dad and her brother. So proud dad brother.
No, I totally buy that. So this is, of course, a Jim Beam product. Excuse me. It is cask strength. Again, it's 119.6 proof. It's 9 years old. I think that's a pretty good.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Damn, you're making me not like it as much already.
Really?
No, I like it a lot. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. You don't like that it's 9 years?
No. I don't like that it's 9 years. I forgot that it was 9 years old. I genuinely forgot that it was 9 years.
So are you taking notes on your phone there for your review, or
Only if I was. I am right now making sure I don't say this woman's name wrong. So,
well, I'll write down your reviews and.
Oh no, I can though. Yeah, I can totally do that.
It doesn't matter either way. But so we have a.
I know her name. I was just making sure. I hope she doesn't listen to this. Like, Iverson doesn't know my name. No, I'm ready for my notes.
Okay. Well, we have a 4-tier review system of nose, palate, finish, and price.
Complex.
Each category is out of 5, and then we total everything up for a total of out of 20. And the cat's going to get on the table. Hopefully not too much more. He's so tiny.
He's so tiny.
He looks so much smaller next to you.
I know, like my mega hand, like Yeah, I'm trying not to.
You were calling this review system complex earlier. Why?
Yeah, it's because it requires more than one number, which is complex for a poor old Iverson who is not very good at math. Hey, just took the GRE, did well on the math section.
Hey, man.
So,
Cheers to you then.
Victory, cheers. So I was going to shout out Elizabeth McCall. I was making sure her last name was McCall because I didn't want to make sure. One, Elizabeth. No, I'm not going to say that. Elizabeth, you are awesome. Crazy smart. She got me to change the way. She doesn't know this. Next time I see her, I'm gonna like throw her my appreciation. Oh, sorry. Let me say who this is first.
Yeah,
Elizabeth
please,
McCall.
please explain.
Elizabeth McCall. She is the assistant master distiller for specifically Woodford, but I believe she does work for Brown-Forman as well.
Yeah.
Yes, she's incredibly beautiful. 10 times more important than that, she's a absolute whiskey nerd, which I find cool. She's a nerd and just a nerd in general, and she's super cool. Like, if I'm gonna have a beer with a human, like she's one of those people I'd want to have a beer with.
Mm-hmm.
But she's the assistant master distiller and she's a master's taster for Brown-Forman.
Brown-Forman, right?
And how I changed my tasting, which gets me on at the Knob Creek, is no swirl on the first nose, no swirl on the second nose, swirl on the third and fourth.
Interesting.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I've already ruined that by swirling almost immediately.
Yeah.
But
it definitely changes the way that
I would say this is the least rye nose.
Would he say that? No, that was what I was saying because I already had smelled it before. When you said 9 years, I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
This is not a good nose.
It smells more bourbon-y.
For one, it smells very bourbon heavy.
Mm-hmm.
For two, all the other ryes we've tasted, are all like
we have a lot of ryes that we've tried so far.
And they're all higher quality as far as nose goes. So far. That doesn't mean anything, though. I've tasted many things.
Well, try to stay as objective as you can, too, in reference to, like, don't think of it, I guess, in terms of
I see what
a
you're saying.
rye. Think of it
Let's
as
not
just...
compare it to anything else. It's a whiskey that we were drinking on a beautiful Sunday afternoon.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's Thursday night.
Your wife is making amazing steaks right now.
I would love for her to be making steak right now. She went out to dinner earlier, though, and I got Taco Bell. So
damn, Taco Hell. How many of y'all know about Taco Hell? Shout out to all the people that know about Taco Hell.
So the secret to Taco Bell
Here we go.
is
Everybody
their
has
power,
a secret.
It's their power menu.
What the hell is a power menu?
Have you never had the Taco Bell power menu?
I don't mess with Taco Hell, man.
Dude,
I'm an old man. I'm 28,
The power menu is where it's at. It's like their healthier option. It's grilled steak. It's
He
grilled
is
chicken.
the most full of shit he's ever been in his entire life. It's the healthier option of
You
Taco
seen
Hell.
this?
Oh,
Jeez, man.
This is awesome.
No, it's good stuff. It's really, I really like the power menu.
Oh, man.
Get the bowl though. Don't get the burrito.
Okay, you're spitting some genius in
See,
this.
I'm not, and get like double protein because
Who doesn't want
I mean,
double
it's gonna
protein?
fill you up better. But I think the nose is serviceable. I don't think
It is
that
what it
it's
is.
overly. I don't think it's overly exciting or reticent. But
Ooh, nice word.
I don't know where I pulled that from.
That was a nice $10 word. I don't give a damn. I'm all about the $10 words. I'm gonna pull one out too. Oh, I was gonna say something very bad. Didn't do it though.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm good. I was gonna say double entendre, but if you were listening, I'm just gonna stop now. But anyways, yes, I like the. When I nose it again, without comparing it to anything else, I found that the nose was a lot more interesting. I got slight rye flavors on the nose, meaning that like rye, grassy spice, a little bit of that came through, a little bit of cinnamon, lots of honey, lots of brown sugar, lots of oak influence on the nose. On the palate, I got the 120 proof, which this is probably the first whiskey at proof, other than the Willet 9-year, we've tasted at proof where it's felt like it's like the proper amount of alcohol, so to speak.
I think so. Excuse me. I think as well that the rye spice is the most dominant on the palate on this one. And I would,
Alcohol's in there. Alcohol might be a tad bit overdone, maybe, but
no, I would hesitate to say though that this is probably a lower rye recipe.
I'd say you're
because I think that if we're thinking brand wise, we're thinking Knob Creek, we're thinking bourbon. So if we're looking at how Jim Beam goes about their products, it more than likely means that they went with a lower rye recipe when they were making their rye whiskeys. Now I don't know exactly, and are you looking it up right now? Okay, well, there you go.
Finding it out. I will say this: the most impressive part about this whiskey in general is the finish. Very long.
I think the finishes are really good.
Yeah.
I think it's I think it's the most enjoyable.
Yep, on balls. Look at you. Look
man.
Perry has a palate, y'all. Perry has a pal,
finally,
and it's his palate.
It only took me
Right?
how long? It only took me trying OBSO at OBC.
Boom. 55% rye, 35% corn, 10% malted barley, which is dead on. Which is I would have said that it had higher malted barley, which is good. Like this is all good. This is from Master of Malts. They could be liars, but most likely.
But
not
that
liars.
also means that they probably have done their research, and somebody put that.
Someone is smart over at Masters of Malt.
Yeah. So
I'll take that as a W. No, it definitely gives off that because you definitely get the barley flavor, like that wet, like forest floor apple. No, seriously, you get like that, like slightly rotten apple flavor, which I get from malted barley. Not rotten, but overdone. And then the corn comes through as a form of sweetness. So
this is the most oak heavy one I think we've had so far too.
Faux show.
And
which if any one of you people have ever done a Knob Creek pick, rye or bourbon,
which I have,
that's the only pick I get hammered on every time, man. Like the oak slaps you in the face at 8 a.m. Like I mean, it's intense, bro. So like it is a very oaky whiskey in general. I don't know. I mean, their rick houses are only like five high. I don't think it's like Heaven Hill where it's like 7, but either way. Yeah, they get. I don't know what they do. They must put heaters in there or something. Yeah, it's definitely very oaky. Yeah, the finish though. Sometimes I find the finish on Jim Beam products to be like overdone in the sense of this super sharp tinge in the mid palate, and then just falling off. This it's nice. Like it has a long finish.
To me, Jim Beam finishes, unless they are. I think that the lower the proof is on Jim Beam products, the more you get a really chemical flavor on their finishes. I think that the higher proof and the older it is, the less that is dominating the finish. I will say though, with this on the finish, it's a little bit in between. I think that it's still got some of those chemical notes, but it's not overpowering. It's not dominant in terms of that.
I think the hardest thing for this, personally, is trying not to compare it to anything else. For me, like, I'm a very comparing human.
At its basest level, do you like it?
Whew.
Wow.
Do I like it? Damn. Stop thinking about all the other things you've tried, Iverson. Stop thinking. Stop. Yes. Easy answer, yes, I like it. I was trying to think of a value. I think I'd pay... $50. I'm at the $50 mark again.
Well, this retails for like 65 to 70.
They're high.
So.
They're high.
Yeah.
No, they're not high. They might be high.
They're a little high?
Yeah, they're a little high. They're high. They're a little high, man. I think $50. I think this is quality rye whiskey. I think the classic flavors of rye whiskey. This doesn't necessarily accentuate those flavors. The alcohol saves this, though. For me personally, it's almost too sweet on the note. Like, and that's because it's 9 years old. I think the effort is nice, and the effort is all there.
I'm gonna pour a little bit more so I can get a better estimation on that personally. But
I drank some water and then gave it another try.
Yeah. And
on that, I'm right where I'm at still. It's the damn barley, man. The barley and the oak. That's specific to me. I am not a big fan of barley unless it's barley. Give me Irish whiskey, I'm there all day. Give me a bourbon or rye and it tastes like Irish whiskey, I'm like, what the hell? Just give me Irish whiskey.
Sure.
So a little bit too much fruit for me, for my liking. I want more spice. But generally, I'm still in my head comparing it to Knob Creek Single Barrel Rye, and I think the Single Barrel is better than this. But
there's a really weird wood note that's not oak.
That's the barley.
That comes. Is that what it is?
100% the barley.
Okay.
Yeah. Gajillion% the barley.
I don't know if I like it.
No, I don't. I dislike it.
Yeah.
I like barley. I just don't like it in this form.
That would almost lead me to believe that it was younger than it is.
Yes. Because 9 years, when you said 9 years, I was like, really? I did not believe that. You know what I mean? Because 9 years old, boy. That's older whiskey.
Yeah.
The oak should take over at a certain point.
I don't think that the oak takes over on the nose it really should.
It should. It's not. And this is what I think for me. If the nose was more intense, I think I would like the entire whiskey more because I'm nose driven. But I'm not hating on it. I'm just being harsh on it because this is a limited edition whiskey. There's no reason not to be harsh on it. If this was an everyday whiskey, I might give it a little bit. Maybe it is worth. If it was everyday, maybe it is worth $65, $70. But
I don't even know about that.
I don't,
because that implies that it's made in a more mass scale.
Yeah.
And
damn. I mean, okay. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna stop. We just tried another 9-year whiskey and they're not even in the same realm of life.
I don't think that they are either.
Yeah, no, not in the same bracket. We just tried a 5-year whiskey. They're not in the same bracket. I would take the 5. I would compare it more to the 3-year, and I would say that it's better than the 3-year. It is.
I think it is too.
The 5-year gives it a run for its money, and it's. It might beat it.
Well, let's try to put this to numbers then, if we can. So, what would you give the nose out of 5 then?
Shit. Oh man, you're asking the nose master. 5 being Booker's Rye, and then 1 being okay. This will literally put it in perspective for you, for those listening. 0 being OZ Tyler, 5 being Saz 18, and I guess that would mean 3 would be any normal, super normal Pikesville Rye. I give it a 1.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's. I'm not hating on it. I'm really not.
Yeah.
I'd give it a 2 if I didn't know it was 9 years old. Maybe. Okay. No, I'll give it a 2. Just to be fair.
I gave it a 2 on the nose.
Yeah, I'll give it a 2. it's because I know it's 9. It should not be that muted. I know that for a fact. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't take that away from it. So yeah, I'll give it a 2. I'll give it a 2 because if I didn't know, I shouldn't act as if I know that it's 9 years old and blah blah blah.
I think that it's a little boring.
It's hella boring
for how
the
old. The
coolest thing about it is that it doesn't smell like it's a rye. By far, the coolest thing about it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I cannot imagine how I would react if I put this in a blind flight. I mean, really, I would.
I know what I would do.
I would be dump it.
Yeah, it'd be the first ones I tossed out. I would if I did a blind fight with the whiskeys we just did. I would assume it would be the second to or the most worst.
So palate wise, though, what would you do?
So palate,
Marie.
Once again, T Handy being 5, OZ Tyler being 1 or 0. I give it a 3 because the rye flavors come through. It does have rye flavors. It has oak. The alcohol saves it for me. I would almost put it at a 4, but I just couldn't put it in that upper echelon.
I'm actually going to give it a 3.5.
Oh, we're going to do 0.5s? Because I did a 3.25. But just so we're being clear, but I'm going to give it a 3. No, 3.5 is fair as hell.
I think so too, because it
4 for me is like Pikesville on palate.
I get that. I think that this palate is so approachable.
Yes.
And I really do think...
The palate is far better than the... I mean, it doesn't reflect that in my rating, but the palate is far better than the nose.
Yeah.
That's what makes it worth the $50.
I think that this is a really good bourbon drinker's rye.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think it's right up
at
there.
the 55%.
I mean, and that's yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's obvious with the mash bill. But I think that for me, being a primarily bourbon drinker,
lame.
Throwing shade. I'm right in front of you.
All the shade.
I'm right
being
in front
thrown.
of you, man. I think that this is one of the most approachable ryes for bourbon drinkers.
Yes, that's probably true.
And I think that's why I give it a little bit of an advantage. Not by much.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I feel
finish, though. What do you think finish-wise? You gotta go back for another sip?
Mm-hmm.
He's thinking.
I love this dog.
She's so sweet.
She's
the sweetest dog.
I like her little munchkin little legs.
I know. It's that Shih Tzu in her. She's got the Chihuahua body and legs, but this is off topic, but it doesn't matter. Finish
off topic, but still on topic.
Yeah, finish wise.
4 finish because there is a finish there. You can definitely tell it's 9 years old. So how long did I take? 30 seconds. I can still taste whiskey right now. Right now, I get that oak. I get the sweetness of the brown sugar and the corn. And even still, I don't, and which I wouldn't have noticed this before unless I would have taken this time. I get the floral a little bit, but I mean, now it's gone. So that was like 45 seconds.
But you still give that a 4?
I give it a 4 because I give it a 4 because for finish, that would be the scale for me for finishes. Says 18 being a 5, which is like 10 minutes long, and then TZ Taylor being a 0 once again. But a 3 for me would be something like, I'm trying to think of something that we've tried, if we haven't. A 3 for me on finish would be something like arguably a Pikesville. Let's just say a Pikesville just for easiness sake. I think this has a better finish because of the length. The flavors are there. It's better on the finish than it is on the mid palate for me. But I mean, I could easily see this being lower than that. No higher. I'm giving it a tippy top. I think I'm giving it a 4 also because to me the finish is by far the best part about this whiskey for me.
4 also. Wait, but you gave the palate a 3.
Yeah. So I'm saying like the finish is the best part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know
okay. Yeah, I got you. No, I got you now. I was just like,
that's why I can't give it. Oh no, never mind. I forgot we're allowed to give 0.5s. So literally, for me, it's a 3.5.
Okay.
On point.
Okay. That's fine.
I forgot we're allowed to do half.
Well, so. I actually gave it a 3.5 as well.
Boom.
I think that
Perry
it is.
Come over to the dark side.
I think it's on par with the palate in that it has really interesting things about it. Mm-hmm. but it's nothing that makes me super excited for the next sip.
Put it like this. I pick this bottle up, I drink it, I'm like, oh, this is a bottle I'm going to get drunk on. This is not a bottle that I'm going to like, you know what I mean? Like this.
I get that.
Yeah, there's a difference there. And I think that's my price point is at $50. Like,
and at 119.6.
Yeah. The alcohol, like I said, the alcohol saves this. For me and Perry, those of us that drink like straight cask strength whiskey every day, like, I mean, if you don't drink cask strength whiskey all the time, I would highly not recommend this at all.
Yeah.
But the 120, the alcohol that pops through makes this a lot more interesting. Yeah. But if you're not into it, then
no. Price wise, though,
so
we were talking like 65 to 70. What would you give that out
of? The price. So me being 3 think it's an okay price, and 5 think it's a great price, basically.
Yeah.
I should give it a 1 point. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give it a 1.5.
Okay. I gave it a 2.
You're a good human.
Well,
I'm gonna keep it real with the people. I'm keeping it real with the people.
I think that it's again really enjoyable for what it is. Is it a little overpriced? Yeah, I think so.
I only am saying that based on the market.
Yeah,
there's just other ryes that cost less that are better.
Yeah, that's fair, but
which isn't fair to Knob Creek Rye, but I can't help but ignore the market.
Well, here's where I'm coming from though. So this is 9 years at 65.
No, you've said enough. There is not. I'll say it for you right now for all the listeners out there in Walla Walla land. If y'all listen to Chance the Rapper, Walla Walla is a great song. But
I like Chance. He's fantastic.
Dude, he's just like positive,
so
positive energy.
I know. I love that.
Let's not kill people and shit. Let's just talk about like awesome stuff and like give people education. Anyways, yeah. So there is not another cask strength 9-year-old rye whiskey on the market for under $100. Period. It doesn't exist. The closest thing to it we already tried today. It was Willet, and it's $100. So it doesn't exist. So I guess if you're saying in that air, it's a 5. Like honestly, like because there isn't another cask strength 9-year-old rye out there. Period. Does it taste like a cask strength 9-year-old rye?
That's my problem with it. Is that it doesn't live up to everything else that it should at its price point. But am I willing? They
should have watered this down and sold it at $40. Like literally, that's how I feel about it. It should have been 100 proof and at $40.
Honestly, I'm going to bump it up to a 2.5. Yeah. Just because I know there's nothing else out there at this price, at this age.
I'll change mine to 2. That's true. There's nothing. I mean, that's the problem with rye whiskey. Is because we're in a bourbon flux as far as like market goes. There isn't a lot of variety in rye whiskey because you can release it so young and it's good. We just tried a 3-year-old. If you go back and rewind to how we were talking about that 3-year-old rye, it was like the second coming of Jesus. So, I mean, there's not a lot. If you can release 3-year-old rye and it tastes that good and make your money back, why are you going to wait 3 years and then make the same amount of money? Like, that's stupid. Yeah. So, I think there isn't a lot of older rye whiskeys. And you get a 10-year-old rye, the Michter's 10, that's why it's so good. Like, you're talking about, okay, and there's another thing. You're talking about the Knob Creek 9 and the Michter's 10, different universes.
World of difference.
So, I think once you get to that 10 year, it's hard to make a bad rye whiskey at that point. So.
Well, we weren't too far off in our ratings. You were 10.5 and I gave it an 11.5.
You're really good at math.
I don't know if I can fully recommend this now at this point. You know, I was saying for a while that this was my favorite whiskey of 2018.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I really was. But
the drugs affecting the mind. No,
at this point, I'm not sure that I can say that.
I mean, and we're not giving it a fair showing because we're trying more storied ryes and all the things right now, right next to it. So maybe that isn't fair. I'll say this. If you would have asked me before we tasted just now, what do you think about that's what you should do from now on, by the way. 100%. If someone's already tried the product, you should totally ask them their thoughts on it and then have them taste. And then see if they try to defend their bullshit. Yeah. Because I'll proudly say what I thought before this and not even care about looking like a dumbass. if you would have asked me, Knob Creek Rye, what do you think about it, Iverson? Oh, dope. Awesome alcohol, awesome oak profile, which those things are actually true.
Yeah. But it's not really until you start comparing it and then breaking it down.
You compare it to the category, it's like, oh no, this shit's whack.
Yeah, but that's why I like our review system so much, is because you really are taking the time to think about each and sure we're leaving out mouthfeel, we're leaving out some of those things,
but
tied
like finish and palate.
Sure, but for me, like, it's more important to talk about your overall experience. Yeah. With that. So I think that it is one of the more efficient review systems.
So hold on, what's the most positive review you can get? 25?
20 out of 20.
20?
Yeah.
And 10 11. Yeah, I say that's
I mean, I think that this is a good, like, try it at a bar.
Try it at a bar, buy it for a present.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, any one of those things. Buy it for yourself? Hell no. Not a hell. I should say hell no. But it's just like, it's not different enough from the other rye whiskeys in the field to say, okay, I'll pay double for this. It's not. It's just not.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I'll stay drinking Saz.
Yeah. Well,
damn,
it's fine.
It sucks that I liked it.
It really does suck, though, because I was going on for so long. I mean, I've spent most of its existence going, this is my favorite thing I've had so far of 2018.
Didn't try that Willet.
I didn't.
The Willets with 16 Z's. If you don't spell it with 16 Z's, you're not spelling it right. No, man. I mean, that was not fair to Knob trying Willet Rye right next to it.
But that's...
And mixers.
That's all right. And I'll probably have a different view on it tomorrow.
Sure. No, I mean, palates change, man. So, that shit's daily. I actually was listening to something today, and they were talking about IQ. No. My professor was telling me about, like, IQ, and he was talking about...
it felt like a podcast.
Yeah, it felt like a podcast. He was talking about your IQ, though, and it changes constantly. Like, we're drinking right now, so our IQs are lower by, like, 60. But...
Sorry.
Right? But, like, daily your IQ changes. So, one day you're 150, the next day you're 147. So, I think it's kind of the same thing with whiskey. As far as your palate is on and off, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like with the amount of whiskey we drank tonight, tasted tonight, I should say specifically, I feel like we're both pretty on right now. And
I think so too.
Generally,
that's what I was gonna get to as well. Is that I think that this is one of the more honest reviews I've given on the show, because it feels like we're both like, it's fine for what it is. Yes. I think that's what our general consensus is.
It's not a value grab. We tried 4 value grabs where it's like, oh, this price doesn't make sense for the whiskey that you're tasting. And now we're tasting something that most likely, we were probably harsh on the price because of that, but like most likely the value is exactly where the bourbon's at or right thereof. Yeah. I say for value, I mean, the most dead on one we tried all damn night is the OZ Tyler. Like that, I still say stand by my $18 and they're charging $20 for it. I'm so proud of them.
Yeah, I like that.
Willet is just giving it away at $40 bucks and $100. Knob Creek, they're right around there. They're not too bad.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
They think they have a name.
Well, anyway, if you want to be able to go and view via video this review, you can head to patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. And this is up specifically for $2 patrons. And that comes out the exact same day as these episodes. So be on the lookout for that if you want to. And I would love for you, of course, to become a patron of the show. It helps me out a lot.
People helping people.
Please. But anyway, appreciate you all watching and listening and everything. But we are going to move on to Tips and Bits, which is our review system, or excuse me, our recommendation portion. I've had a lot of whiskey.
Hammered.
And, well, not quite, but getting there. But we have one more thing you want to try specifically.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I feel like this is in Nashville.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Well, so this is an Old Scout rye pick from Spirit's Shop, and another one that I got secondhand.
Did you really?
Yeah.
All right, you have to tell me who you're getting these from. Like, do they have any Four
I
Roses?
I can't say it on air, but
Yeah,
I'll ask him.
Know.
Ask him.
Ask him if he has any Four Roses or any Smooth Ambler.
No, I will.
Like, I'm all about that.
So Iverson, what are your tips and bits this week?
My tips and bits, meaning what specifically, so I don't say some randomness. Not about whiskey or
anything.
about whiskey.
It can be anything, man.
Oh man,
what have you been enjoying or watching or listening to or whatever recently?
This is random. I'm an anime nerd.
Are you really?
Oh, dude, I'm tough on the anime. So I'm rewatching Hunter x Hunter. Excellent anime.
Nice.
Yeah, one of the best. What else?
So I have to ask you then.
Please.
How do you fall on the Dragon Ball spectrum?
Damn it. So, Dragon Ball, to anyone that would ever ask me, I'm sharing this with the public. Anyone that would ever ask me, Dragon Ball, okay, hold on. Dragon Ball, or we're talking about the whole
No, I'm talking about
match?
the whole schmear.
Just to show you how nerd I am, Dragon Ball, by far, is one of the greatest animes of all time.
Thank you.
Dragon Ball, the whole spectrum, is still top 10, top 5.
Sure.
And if you say anything else, you're just a hater, bro.
How dare you?
Yeah, but Dragon Ball specifically, like Dragon Ball, people that like the academia type animes or the shonugekis or the all that stuff. Like, yeah, I'm real nerd. Yeah. Oh, see, Perry's getting so many bonus points.
I know this stuff because I spent so much.
Shonugeki.
I spent so much of my teenage years loving anime and manga too.
Dude, manga's dope too.
That's a whole other conversation.
Separate podcast.
Anyway.
So yeah, Hunter x Hunter.
Are we gonna do a whole anime podcast?
I would get hammered and talk about anime for hours. We can bring my sister on. My sister's legit, bro. Like,
oh really?
My sister watches. She doesn't watch the shonen style animes, like fighting and shit.
Yeah.
She watches like everything else but.
Sure.
And the only shonen style she watches is My Hero Academia, probably, which is
interesting.
Might go down as the top 3 anime of all time. Just throwing that out there too. But no, she could have some dope commentary on that, and she's a weirdo. Yeah. But other than anime, tits and beds, I would say all of you folks out there that aren't on your store pick game, get on your store pick game, because the store picks are starting to diminish in value. Everyone is on the store pick thing, so get them while you can, because I think in like a year from now they're going to be store picking like 4-year-old shit it's going to be all bad because it's all a money grab. Everything's a money grab. Yeah. That's good. What's I've been up to? School started back. That sucks. The stir fry bags at Kroger's are awesome. Random. They're like $3, dude. They come with sauce and veggies. You just gotta buy the protein. It's awesome.
Nice.
I've been eating like those like.
Well, I love. Have you ever had the frozen bags of PF Chang's?
No.
Oh, dude. I don't know if you can get it at Kroger, but you can definitely get it at Walmart.
Okay.
But
damn, it's the evil empire.
It's basically just PF Chang's.
Walmart, I've established are like legit stormtroopers. Like they're the empire.
Oh,
dude, they're the empire. And then when we're all Luke Skywalker, man, just fighting the good fight. Golly damn. No hate to Walmart. If you're ever going to sponsor the show, we love you. If not, then go
Why
to
would
hell.
Walmart ever sponsor the show?
Hey, you never know, man.
If they're listening, that's fine. I mean, come
Walmart
on.
and like
bring
Charleston,
it on, brother. But I mean, in the meantime,
Walmart and Charleston, they like in other states and stuff, they sell liquor. I feel like I don't know that to be true.
The Walmart in Hamburg has a liquor store attached to it. It doesn't have like one in store.
So right now, Perry is putting me on. Didn't know there was a Walmart in Hamburg. Don't even know what he's talking about. I live in the state. I live in Kentucky and I live in Lexington.
You live in Lexington. You live in that.
I've lived here. County. I've lived here for 18 damn years, and I had no idea there's a Walmart. Where's the Walmart in Hamburg?
Well, okay, so it's not. Right
you're talking about
Hamburg.
off New Circle.
Off Winchester, or on Winchester actually.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So there's like a Lowe's right next to it. Been in there twice.
Yep, got you.
So it's
it's
literally.
I didn't know there was a liquor store there.
Yeah.
Do they have anything good in there? No. Okay, makes sense.
But it's still there. Like I mean, nobody's ever in there.
No.
So I mean, if you're looking for good cheap stuff, I mean, it's like the Total Wine of Kroger Wine and Spirits.
Got a little Total Wine?
Yeah. No,
Shout out to
it's
Total
fine.
Wine for
It's
being
fine.
awesome.
Yeah. So my tips and bits, kind of in line with the anime or animation or comics or whatever. So there's a really funny Twitter account that I follow called CK1 Blogs, which is
if you're not trying to follow this or look at this right now, you're trash. You're a
do
trash human being.
Do you know what it is?
No idea. I'm gonna look it up right now because I'm not a trash human being.
It's Clark Kent. Not so he. It's this account that pretends to be Clark Kent.
CK1
CK1 Blogs.
Okay.
It's playing the character of Clark Kent, but he makes no secret that he's also Superman. But he comments on
Is Twitter or is this Facebook?
Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, Twitter. I don't mess with Twitter like that.
He comments on like modern events and everything. But
see,
he does
Wendy's created that. Wendy's kills the game.
Well, he's actually been around a little bit longer than that Wendy's.
Wendy
the
stole
really
it from him.
Quality Wendy's account.
Wendy,
Yeah.
you're the redheaded stepchild, literally, of the internet. Damn.
But it's really funny stuff. If you like, comic book culture and nerd stuff and everything, you'll get into it and everything. Yeah. The other thing though is my buddy Jason, who has just kind of been a part of the bourbon community recently, started his own YouTube review channel too called The Mash and Drum. He's a drummer. Oh, okay. So he incorporates, his drumming into it as well. He has really great reviews. Super nice guy. So I would definitely recommend going and checking that out.
What does he reviews?
Bourbons and
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he reviews the classified ads.
He might have reviewed anime. I thought he reviewed anime. No Hero Academia. I was like, damn, I want to hear this review.
No, that's all I have for tips and bits this week. We've had a lot of whiskey.
Tons of whiskey.
Far. What do you think about this Smooth Ambler pick?
8-year-old. Okay, so for those of you that don't understand what we're drinking, it is an 8-year-old store pick spirit shop, and they're spelling it in the weird way, like shoppy,
like old
school shop, like English shop. You know what I mean? Like not the Queen's English. I don't even know if that's actually historically accurate. Which is gonna, like, y'all think I'm joking? Legitimately gonna bother me. No, I'm about it. It's delicious.
It's
whoever
so
gave you this bottle for, I hope nothing, might be high.
Literally
it's
nothing.
Delicious. Damn, literally?
Literally got it for free. You
are such a horrible human. Horrible spelt with a WH. Like, damn. No, so just to give y'all some reference, as someone who, I don't collect anything. The only thing I collect is I don't collect anything, actually. I have probably 7 or 8 different store pick Smooth Amblers. Not one rye. I've only tried one other store pick rye. This is a treat. It's very good. It's on par with the MGP Willet that we had. Or what I think is MGP. I don't know.
It's definitely MGP. It's got to be. I think it's really enjoyable.
Very sweet.
It is extremely sweet.
Yeah.
I think that it drinks a little bit like a finished whiskey.
Oh, yeah. You could argue that. Like an orange curacao or port or sherry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't think it's the best thing we've had.
Damn, I almost brought that Woodford double oaked rye.
Just, again,
yeah.
you should have just brought your whole liquor cabinet, man.
No, you tried it. You tried it on some episode that's coming out before or after this. Remember, that was the one that I had in the car I got for free.
Oh, yeah.
Or I didn't get for free. I paid for it. Brown Foreman's awesome. We love Brown Foreman at OB. No, I'm sure.
And I definitely didn't try it in a car as the car
while
was moving. And
like, real talk, if I'm allowed to speak on this, I'm not allowed to speak on this. Brown Foreman, like, shout out to Brown Foreman for just being like the real ones of the West. Like, they look out, man. Like, I remember we did an Old Forester pick a while ago, and it was actually trash. No offense. We did 3 different Old Foresters, and we were so excited that we got to try it at 130 proof. We picked a really bad barrel when they cut it down.
Yeah.
Now they're doing the thing where you can, like, the Old Forester experience in Louisville which we talked about on that car ride, is amazing. And
Yeah.
you have to pick your own proof at that as well. But no, man, it was so bad. But she brought us what are the cups that everyone likes that are like metal? The Y word. Those. She brought us those with like Old Forester signatures on it. Not Yarais. All I can think is bar stuff right now. Yarais. Starts with a Y. They have coolers and cups and
Yeti.
See, Perry is fluent in Iverson at this point
translator.
now. Yeah. So they brought us Yeti cups, like for free. Like they're just super cool. Like the relationship that we have with them, we've done over like 63 barrel selections.
So many picks.
Yeah, a BHG. Like we've done 64.
Well, with Brown Foreman.
Yeah, Brown Foreman. Sorry,
not Old Forester.
64. And it was funny going to Old Forester and seeing that we only done like 2. And like the chick was like, "Oh, you only done 2?" It's like, "Oh, well, we've done like 60 Woodfords." It was really funny, but no, our relationship is very symbiotic, and I think with the new Drakes opening up in where is it opening up? Brandon Crossing. They're going to. I think Elizabeth McCall might be coming, and she's gonna like shout out, because we just did that with Rye. I think we're gonna release it there, and it's the last Drakes to open up in in Lexington, so they're gonna do that thing.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're dope. Basically, I was just saying that
How'd
they
we
give the
get
best
here?
swag. We were talking about swag, just like
Oh, okay.
yeah. No, they give the best swag.
How do we get the swag?
I have no idea because I was talking about Smooth Ambler.
Okay. Regardless,
I don't know.
Let's wrap this thing up. We've been going on for a long time, man. Do you have any social media plugs? Because you normally don't. Oh, you do now.
I do and I don't. I mean, I don't really post anything that
OBC
anyone
Kitchen?
cares about. Yeah, OBC Kitchen.
Yeah.
My social media club plug is at OBC Kitchen on Insta. Check it out. We do like a happy hour on Fridays from 4 to 6. That's pretty dope. Yeah. We do different whiskeys. So last week we did William Heaven Hill, the blue label. It's like $200 a bottle retail.
And
we did it for $5 an ounce. An ounce.
That's stupid.
Gave it away. We lost money.
Stupid.
We killed 3 bottles. We lost money on it. That's just like how we do. Not like how we do like we're balling. Like how we do like we're idiots. So, I mean, like, and it's not about us making money or anything. It's literally about. We were talking about this before the podcast started, but just about like bourbon education and just kind of spreading that, man. Like forcing people to try different stuff. Yeah. So 14-year-old William Heaven Hill, and I hated working it because I heard so many people like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know about this. This is cask strength, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is 14-year-old bourbon. Like, are you high? Like, this tastes like beautiful raisins and cassis and yeah." But no, we do that on Fridays. Other than that, at Iverson 56, if you care. If you don't, I don't post anything. I'm a voyeur of the world. I just watch. I watch and wait for y'all to slip up.
Well, if you want to follow me, I am at PRaider1492.
You probably do.
You don't have to. That's fine. I'm pretty boring on social media now that I've started doing the Bourbon podcast.
Oh, he has some funny stuff in there.
Yeah. Well, the Bourbon podcast social media is at my Bourbon Pod, and that's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And then you can head to Threadless, which is our apparel shop, and that's bourbonshop.threadless.com.
No lie, he wore a shirt from there the other day. Pretty dope. Like,
yeah,
no, the stuff from there is nice. Like, and I don't even like. I'm that much of a douchebag. I would tell him his shit sucks. Actually, I probably wouldn't tell him his shit sucks to his face. I just wouldn't say anything.
Well, I appreciate that.
But no, definitely has an eye.
I appreciate
it looks
that.
good.
I appreciate that. Patreon.com/MyBourbonPodcast. We've already talked about that a little bit. $2 will get you the video reviews from these episodes. I'm struggling with these plugs at the end. Give us a 5-star rate and review, please, on iTunes or however you review stuff. Yeah,
listen.
Really appreciate that. Thank you so much to everybody who listens and shares and I guess just appreciates the show. We wouldn't be here without you and everything. Ivy, thanks for being on the show, man.
No, thank you again for inviting me.
We'll have you
I
on
totally appreciate
soon
it.
again.
I missed Beyonce's concert for this, so I just.
Come on.
I really didn't. I would have totally went to Beyonce's. No, but
dang, man.
Thank you for having me on.
Jeez, yeah.
I really mean that, man. It was fun.
Next week we're probably gonna have Chad and Sarah on. I don't know. I don't know what's coming up.
You know
next.
what? Just random throw out there. I'm at Limestone Distillery, Beam. Snickle Fritz, dude. That guy is cool as shit. You need to do an episode with him.
No, I'd love to.
No, literally, Perry. This is what Perry's gonna do. Perry's gonna reach out to Mr. Snickle Fritz. I have his card. I'm gonna email it to him. I'm gonna send him a picture. He needs to check him out. And have him on. That dude is probably the weirdest human being naturally I've ever met in my entire life. Like Deadpool weird, but in a different way.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Try you some Yellowstone.
Well, again, thank you guys so much for listening. I will see you next week, but until then, I'm Perry, and this is my Bourbon Podcast.